Well, hi. I'm Chris Duffy, and I don't see me. Can you see me?
Yes, we see you.
Oh, okay. I'm Chris Duffy, and welcome to Do It Live Autonomy Podcast. Today on the show, I don't know if we have a guest yet or not, because I didn't have time to check my direct messages. But I have Stephen Lawrence as my awesome co-host today. And we're going to talk about some highlights from the past week and also talk about how they relate to health. So with that, we have a clip to play. This was a woman that Agnieszka, am I saying that right? Found that
Agnieszka,
thank you. I haven't said it enough times. I've read it enough times, but I haven't said it enough times. I forget the woman's name because I didn't write that down, but they talked about love is precious but it's not scarce. And so Stephen's going to play that clip.
There's nothing more precious than love. I have some wonderful quotes by
and also nothing more abundant, and therein lies the paradox of that experience.
Say more, if you will.
Well, love is the most precious.
Yes.
And usually that which is precious, like a diamond,
yes,
is very rare. And you could say that the experience of love is rare, but it's also the most abundant. It's the substrate of the universe itself. We are participating in a universal love story of the cosmos in its unfolding. Like, this is another way to describe, in my mind, the divine. You can call it the all, the source, God, love, light, even truth. There's other different ways to describe it, but love is the fundamental substrate of existence. So it's in radical abundance,
yes,
and we can access it if we but have the keys and the heart for it. We can access it at any point, and it is still the most precious, which is something that we don't understand. We don't understand how abundance and preciousness can go hand in hand.
Well, that's because it would seem to me that rarity and preciousness are equated in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And the great hoodwink about precious diamonds is that they're pebbles and they're extremely abundant. And then and that was a De Beers advertising campaign that hypnotized people into thinking, oh my God, something so rare.
Well, if they said, look at these pebbles, they're extremely abundant, it probably wouldn't have been as effective as a marketing campaign.
Truly, but then to think that love is so abundant and yet it's precious, how does that equate? In a marketing arena, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But in reality, it does.
And that's a rewiring of our understanding of the world that's very important, and it just shows the frame of reference that we're in, which is in the commodification of self. And in this, I think, capitalism gone a little too hard in the paint, a little too extreme, so that it's permeated even the way we think about love.
Oh, that's horrible.
Right? It's like and of course I think it's still the best economic model that exists. But nonetheless, everything needs to have its own balance.
Do you know,
Yeah, I love that everything they said about that. And one thing that struck me when I listened to it was the word commodification. That is what they've done to us related to healthcare. We are now the cows they milk for every dollar by convincing us we need to go to regular appointments and do all this testing and whatnot. If you do have a problem, the testing may be helpful, but you can find a solution that's outside of their system and become free of it. Love is precious and love is abundant. So is health. You can turn around your health much faster than you think. And that's what I would like to share about that. Commodification is something we have to stop. We have to stop being their commodity. Anybody have any feelings about that?
I'll chime in on that one because there's a lot to that interview, and I would highly recommend that people take a look at it because they talk a lot about different words and how words have been screwed with. And, to a large degree, she says something like, that like the words that we speak with our forked tongue. And, we've been kind of walked down a path where we're talking in ways that are diminishing ourselves and diminishing other people and diminishing the things that are supposed to be valuable. Like the word love, there's just so many things about it that have been diminished. And, like they were talking about the word live and the opposite, like if you spell it backwards, it's evil is live. And and then the love backwards is evolve. And so there's a lot there for sure, and it is one of those things. And I think he speaks about the book The Four Agreements and the idea of being impeccable with your word. I really feel strongly about that. And Chris, you as an author, I'm sure that ability to like use words to kind of get people to understand and imagine things is so useful and so magical, and I mean that is like a magic that we have is through those words we can get people to see things that they otherwise are blind to.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful message for sure.
One thing about the word love is most people will easily say, I love pizza or I love chocolate, but they won't say, I love you. That's really difficult because I think they know they're making more of a commitment to say that. But we really should think about whether we really want to be saying we love chocolate, Get back to the original meanings of words at least. Thank you. That's very helpful. Anybody else?
Chris, I love the concept of saying commodification and that we are being utilized as commodities, especially as it relates to the health care. and also on the language of words, it's the reason I don't say good morning. I always say good day because I'm not mourning and I don't like the homonym aspect of that word. So one
important point.
Absolutely. And one of the best aspects on the road to autonomy is self-discovery. And once you have that self-discovery, you're not a commodity. You are a unique individual being having experience here with all these other unique individual beings. And truly, Michael, I would love to see you build that bridge. And I believe that that's what autonomy is, the bridge from Mount Stupid to not stupid.
I think it's a t-shirt to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, autonomy is that bridge, right? And for sure, it is definitely one of the best aspects on the road to autonomy is self-discovery. So thanks, and hi, Chris.
Hi, thank you.
I just say that like each of us has that, that other side of the valley of despair is that plateau of wisdom. And I think each of us has kind of our own version of that, and it is through our own experiences that we build that plateau. And so like each of us has this unique bridge we've got to build. And like to some degree, it's helpful to see like the example that other people have set, like I was talking about earlier, Jordan Page, there are people out there that just have that something, and it's freaking magical. I mean, I certainly, when I hear Jordan play, I mean, the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and it's magical, and I do feel like we all have that kind of presence, you know, to get to, so that we can impact people in that way. It's just our own way, you know.
Yeah, I believe everybody has a mission. They just may never find out what it is if they don't find themselves. You know, as long as they're still doing what they were told, you know, they may never find out. And also you've got the propaganda that old people are, you know, to be seen and not heard, or maybe not even seen, but everybody over their lifetime learns things, you know, even if they don't realize anything until that, you know, last 10 years, they have still learned over all that time, and it really needs to be valued more.
Well, and I think one of the things that was brought up in last night's presentation, that fear, you know, you know, for those of you that attended the sales master class with Brock, he brought this up too, is that idea of like confronting the things that you fear and having the courage to do the hard things each day. Fear is one of those things that, you know, to a large degree has been created. You know, I mean, like the fear of public speaking, for example, that is a completely created fear. You know, babies, when they come out of the womb, they're not afraid of expressing themselves. And somewhere along the way, we all become fearful of
Fooled.
Yeah. And so, like, those, you know, like, we've got to be able to examine our fears and confront them. And, you know, here again is kind of the environment and atmosphere that we've created with this community that allows that to, you know, to happen.
Well, some of it is just turning it, not a habit, but making it familiar. You know, like the first time I had to do an interview last season, I was physically nervous. I mean, I wasn't afraid to do it, but, you know, I was having symptoms like that. And it's just a matter of doing it again and again and again and again, you know, until you don't feel it that way anymore. So I think people are afraid of being afraid. And you just need to just do those things and get out there.
Well, it's always an inspiration. And Chris, you are definitely an inspiration, because you are becoming a rock star in autonomy, if you ask me.
Thanks. Well, with that, we've got another video clip from Getting Things Done, Richard's interview with David, oh shoot, what's his last name? David
Allen,
yeah. Can you play that, Stephen?
Well, I think the easy way to say that is that your head is for having ideas, not for holding them. And I don't know how long I'm going to be preaching this, but most people, even very successful people and people who have to some degree applied these principles, they're still using their psyche as their system. And your psyche sucks as a system. It's a terrible office. It'll tend to remind you of things based upon how recent they were or how much emotional content you have tied to them. And that's not exactly the most strategic or fun way to make choices about where you put your focus and attention and how you point yourself. So basically, this is a model that allows you to offload remembering and reminding off your psyche, because that's something it does not do very well. And so offloading it also means that it will come back up if you don't have a trusted place and a trusted way to engage with what you've offloaded. So offloaded does not mean go unconscious, go numb, or forget. Offload means I have now appropriately stuck these over here, put them in the right place, trust that I or the right people will look at this at the right time and be reminded of what they need to be reminded of. In other words, that I've got the maps that I need to see. If I'm going to go sail a big sailing trip, I better make sure I've got the maps for the harbor so I can see the little rocks there, and I've got the big map that's showing where I'm going, and I need all those different kind of maps. And I'm not going to do that in my head. Come on. And most people have a life much more complex than sailing a boat. And so
I love what he said about maps, because we really don't know the territory. We make maps of every experience that we've had, and the older we get, the better our map gets, but we will never know the whole territory. And we won't know, unless we talk to people, we won't know what their map looks like. And I think that the propaganda about medical care being health care, and all the scheduling of testing and stuff that they do is a really bad map. And we need to learn to build a map of health that includes all the different modalities that people have come up with, acupuncture, massage, hydrotherapy, oodles. There's oodles and oodles of different ways that different people and cultures have handled illness, whether it's saunas, dry saunas, wet saunas, steam saunas. There's so many good things about them, but if we don't know they exist and don't know how they could help us, then we are limiting ourselves. And so one of my goals is to help people, build a better map. And I have some book covers. I forget now, Stephen, are you going to do those? These are some books that I have that I've learned a lot from. And we'll go through them. This one, oops, my screen has to finish. The Chemistry of Man. So there's a lot of chemistry in medical care, but the purpose for their chemistry is so that they can suck you into the system and get you on drugs. Whereas this whole book is about the chemistry of life and how to feed your body and basically how to avoid medical care. And I'll put a link to these somewhere after the final Do It Live is up. This is iridology. I found this amazing when I did my Doctor of Naturopathy course. This was one of the courses studying this book. And your iris is literally a map of your whole body from head to toe. And it sort of like starts on the inside, right around the pupil, and it goes out so that like the outer edge of the pupil is the whole skin of your body. And then it kind of wraps around. It's very interesting. And there's the next picture shows an iris, and where it says pigment rough on the right, hopefully you see right, that is actually where the pupil is. So this is a cross section of just the iris, and it shows how stress in the middle, that little dip there, is caused by stress, and it shows up as a line, it looks like some of the iris is peeled away. And then on the far left, you can see acute disease, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. And those show up as black holes in your iris. So it's pretty amazing book. And the next slide actually shows a few irises. So you can see the very central eye, you can see where a lot of tissue is actually absent from acute injury of the organ that relates to those spots. I actually had an eye surgery when I was 2, And there's a spot in my iris that's now all filled in with white tissue, white connective tissue that used to be a black hole. And so if you look at the bottom right iris, you can see all those areas of damage. And then if you look at the top iris, I don't think it's the same person, but the top one, you see where the white filaments have filled in as the person healed themselves. So it's just amazing that we can learn about somebody's health status from their iris. It's just amazing.
Chris, is there any kind of association with like the masculine and the feminine with the two eyes? Is there
only
differences?
that the spot that relates to the female organs or the male organs are, obviously it's going to tell you what the problem is with testicles rather than ovaries. But other than that, we cannot tell by looking if these are men's or women's eyes.
Okay.
And there really are only two colors, blue and brown. And the green eyes and the different colors, hazel eyes and whatnot, are just a blend of those two. There isn't really a hazel eye. Then this one, I think everybody should have a medical physiology text. This shows, so this is your anatomy and physiology information that if you're going to, so if you started in kindergarten learning anatomy and physiology, by 12th grade, you would know how your vehicle functions and how to take care of it. But they've deliberately taken anything of value out of health class, which is, was like a 20-minute class once a week when I was in school. Yeah. I don't think did I take a picture inside that one? Yeah, so this is a diagram showing how an axon interfaces. And what this reminds me about is the fact that every reaction that happens in the human body can only happen with enzymes. If you put all the same chemicals on the table in a beaker, they would only degrade. They would not do the things that they do in the human body. You have to have enzymes, which are special proteins that connect two things together and make a third one fly off. It's just so fascinating. Now this is the anatomy part, and Frank Netter is the best diagrammer, artist, illustrator that I've ever seen when it comes to the human body. And there's a couple of pictures, I think, of his. So this is the detail, and when you realize that lymph nodes are throughout all that space, around your colon and throughout where your small intestines are, then you realize that they're there to actually trap toxins and dead bacteria and get them all into the bloodstream and then to the kidneys or the liver for disposal. And in order to understand, so that you can take what you feel, when you're in pain, there's a painful spot, in order to really understand what's going on, you have to have a visualization of what's going on, what's inside you. At least if you want to avoid the medical establishment, because their answer is drugs and surgery. So we want to avoid that. And this is how the areolas of the lungs interface with the circulation. So where these little, they look like raspberries are, that is a single blood cell wide. And so those blood cells go through where they're blue, drop off carbon dioxide, and then leave oxygenated, the red side. And this is going on without any thought. And there's really only a problem with it when we aren't feeding our body correctly. And then this shows how the nervous system, I guess I didn't take a very good picture. It's how the nervous system intersects with every blood vessel in your body. Your body, you know, if your feet are cold and your hands are warm, your body can adjust so your feet get more blood. Or if you're not dressed warm enough, you don't have a hat on, everybody should wear a hat when your hands are cold, you know, then it will constrict all the outer blood vessels in order to keep your core the right temperature so you don't get sick. It's an amazing, just one amazing thing about our bodies. I think that's the last picture. Is it? Yeah. So I just wanted to share some of my books, and if you could pull up the book list PDF. So I wrote a long time ago, I wrote a curriculum for teaching your homeschool kids health stewardship. And it's a curriculum in that it's a method for learning, but it's not like, it doesn't include all the books and doesn't tell you what to do on Monday. But go to the first page. So this is 12 years worth of books, what I thought would establish a good, healthy understanding of the human body. Back then, I'd probably revise it now, but and some would be, you know, beginning science level books, which I have a B in front of, primary texts, etc. And then, yeah, I'm going to post this too, so anybody that's interested can look into it. But you can really, any book you can learn from, even if it's something you totally disagree with, you take that book and you develop an argument against whatever they're saying. And it's all good exercise for your brain and your decision making. Anybody have any books that they think saved their lives or really impacted you?
But specifically about the body or about the psyche too?
Oh, psyche too. Your psyche is really important.
My well, there were two books that I think would be my favorite for psychology. One is Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And the other one is King, Warrior, Magician, Lover by Gillette, and the other guy's name I never remember. But one is Gillette, like the shaver. And that is a really quintessential Jungian psychology book for supposedly for men, but really if you just relabel the things, it's for everybody. You know what I mean? The theory behind it is the same. It's just a different, women show up differently, right? But it's easy to see through it. And it's very interesting the way he presents it.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you, like, once they, well, or in the chat, post those?
What chat, here in the chat, or should I put it in the forum post?
Yeah, you can put it in the forum because it might not show up in the replay.
And then there's the one that Your Body Keeps a Score. Have you guys mentioned that one already?
Oh, no. What's that one?
You don't know that one? I was
No,
sure
I
you
don't know
read that one already. That's one where your emotional experiences get stored in your muscles and your tissues, and it talks about the details on that. It's a quintessential psychosomatic therapy book.
That sounds really interesting. That could be related to the water, the fourth phase of water that I'm reading. I lost it for like a month. I couldn't find where I put the book. But it talks about water having a fourth phase, not just liquid, steam, and ice, but that it's got this fourth phase where it's organized like like a salt crystal. And it can make a physical barrier that only certain things can get through, you know. So and that's just one of the things they've discovered about water. And so that in a human cell, you know, is part of the reason why it functions miraculously like it does. And so it makes sense that, well, they've proven that memory has water has a memory. So, and
Well, because
we're
it's
mostly water, so.
Yeah, but water essentially is a crystalline structure, because once it's frozen, you see it's like crystalline qualities, right? And then, so in that case, it would be like, it could record things that it's exposed to. Like, what's the guy's name that talked to water?
Masamoro Emoto?
That's right.
Yeah, that sounds like a
I
name in the
always want to
book.
say Hashimoto, but Hashimoto is the guy from thyroid.
Yeah,
research.
low thyroidism.
And that's why I didn't want to say it.
Perfectly understandable. Yeah, he's mentioned in the book, the fourth phase of water.
Nice. And puppies are made out of water too, right?
Yes, most living animals are mostly water.
Yeah.
Amazing. For just a bag of bones and water.
But with intelligence, you know?
Yeah, well, we're carrying something. We have to learn how to take care of this vehicle so we can accomplish what we're here for.
I think
Chris,
he was.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to ask about Wim Hof and you know, like his theories, and from what I've seen, you know, it's a lot like the Eastern philosophies. There's a lot of gurus and yogis and stuff that have demonstrated similar things, but you know, like his ability to like alter his body temperature in like freezing water, and then also like that experiment where he taught people how to, you know, fight E. coli. Do you have any thoughts on that, Chris?
No, I really don't know much about it. I think I've heard about it before, but sounds fantastic.
Well, there's an account of him like going into an experiment where supposedly 16,000 people had been exposed to E. coli, and you know, essentially got what is that, food poisoning?
Yeah.
Or like a, you know, like a weak version of, and he did. And then he went and trained like 10 people, and then there was another control group of 10 people, and they did the same thing to them, and the 10 people that he trained essentially didn't get it. And you know, like when you're injecting like it right into,
they all ate the food that was poisoned.
well, I think they injected it right into their bloodstream, so
Oh,
it was like they you know, it was like they were sure to get it. But you know, to me, that's, you know, like that you know, there's still a lot out there that I don't think we know.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
that's one of those examples.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's so many things that affect our immune response and how able we are to overcome things and knock them out beforehand, and your thinking and your emotions play a really big part in that, much more than most people are aware.
That would underscore the terrain concept as well, Michael. I'm going to look into that as something that could be used as not necessarily proof, but a waypointer. Yeah, support.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like the medical establishment, as soon as they got their hands on drugs, it was all over. Because they haven't learned much since. They're still stuck in that.
Since Agnieszka is here, I wanted to ask her about the eyes thing. Agnieszka, do you know anything about what she was talking about with the eyes and like the masculine and feminine? Because like one of the you know, one of the things that Agnieszka has done is like that split face thing, where you take a picture of your face and you split it in two, and then you take the right half and you make, you like duplicate the right half and you have this face, and then you have your left face. Agnes, you want to talk about that a little?
Sure. So what Michael's talking about is psychosomatic therapy, which is the modality that I am a master therapist in. And it's actually the basis for my latest Acapulco talk, the sovereign body language, right? So that's the same as psychosomatic therapy. And psychosomatic therapy, in essence, is creating the shape of your body, your muscles, your tendons, everything that's visible on the outside with your thoughts. So basically, the thoughts you habitually think, the words you habitually use to yourself and others leave a mark on your face and on your body. And that shows up in posture and shows up in dis-ease, and it shows up in different ways. And then with the face splitting, but see, the thing is with iridology is like a study of an internal organ, your eyeball, right? It's not something that shows up in the external tissues like the muscles, like, yes, eyeballs have muscles, but what iridologists study is the actual structure of the iris, right? And
Yes.
other than mentioning its color, we don't really study that in psychosomatic therapy at all. But we do study the muscles, the tendons, the tension in your face, in your body, and how it. Please don't bite me so much.
Mhm.
And
Well,
how
I think it could show up because as stress points in the iris, but it's like an indicator where it is, where you see this blemish in the iris tells you where it is in your body that it's being affected.
it's like a different testing for a different thing, like an MRI versus an X-ray, right? The iridologist will tell you something, and then the psychosomatic therapist will tell you something different. It's completely different. I don't think it's really, I mean, yeah, I would say that the iridologist would diagnose the disease, and then the psychosomatic therapist would interpret the disease to tell you what the psychological reasons for it may be and how to correct it on the emotional level, as opposed to on the physical level, which is what, an herbalist or a doctor or whatever you believe in would do.
Right. Yeah. And I believe you have to address both. You have to address subliminal stuff that you don't realize has affected the way you think of yourself and other people, as well as actually eating food that makes your body whole.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, do check out. I put a private link in our classroom for the talk that I did at Acapulco. And so if you want to take a look at what psychosomatic therapy is like, I do a demonstration there on stage. So
Awesome.
cool.
Let's do the next getting things done. I think autonomy is really good for learning how to take care of yourself. Go ahead, Stephen.
There are lots of good ideas to be had. There are lots of creative things to express. There are lots of things that we don't consciously see right now. We just need room. We need room for it, and we need to create the flow of possibility. And so it's pretty easy to constipate your psyche when you have potentially meaningful things. You haven't clarified what they mean. You haven't clarified where they need to go. You haven't clarified how do I now engage with that anymore. And then that just sort of junks up the psyche, and then it sort of bangs around like a pinball machine. And it just doesn't work that well. See, the stuff, Richard, that I uncovered it's really mechanical. It's not like something you have to believe or something. It's just the way it works. It's subtle, but it is just a mechanical process. You do this, it produces this kind of result. So being able to distribute, get this stuff out of your head. And I think we're just beginning to taste how powerful that is. I mean, to me, GTD, getting things done 3.0 is, okay, what do you do once you have a clear head? How do you then leverage the opportunity to make really cool decisions, add even more value by creating contexts that allow your mind and your psyche to actually trigger, much more creative and powerful and positive things you might want to be experiencing and expressing. So that's a whole wide universe still available. But most people got some heavy lifting to do just just to build in these habits to keep the psyche from overloading itself with all of this.
Well, I'm building this idea of habits out. Between stimulus and response, we have to have a habit of creating space, because that's where we get our choice and our freedoms and our opportunity. The ability to be spontaneous is by breaking the stimulus response cycle. And so what I saw as a key physical role in your process, that once it moved into my office, I said, wow, I'm able to break the stimulus response of, let's say, being interrupted, because I have this thing called an inbox or an in basket, and it's a physical.
Did that stop at the right time? I just
Who
clicked.
who was that guy?
I think I know him.
Yeah, I went a little over on that one. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So, you know, the system doesn't want you to think and decide for yourself. And so many people don't even think about their health until they don't have it. You know, it's like owning a car and, you know, not ever cleaning it or getting it washed or filling it with gas until it breaks down. You know, people just ignore their bodies. So it seems anyways. Anybody have any success stories for recovering their health?
I'll volunteer one. I actually had an instance where I was career orientated. I was working like 90 hours a week. I was like leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, driving into Chicago, doing like a 12-hour day, and then driving home. And when I'd get home, I'd just eat the same meal every single day, you know, which was not a very good one. It was basically hot dogs and microwave popcorn. And a particular weekend, I believe me, I learned from this experience because it was incredibly painful. I knew something was wrong, and I had like scheduled a thing with like the family doctor. I called my mother and said, hey, how do I get in touch with the doctor? Because I think I got something wrong. And but like over this weekend, I like woke up and I thought like I had burst appendix. I mean, I felt like someone had stabbed me with a knife right in my side, and I couldn't even get up. I had to like hobble to the car, and someone drove me to the hospital. And of course they gave me a shot of morphine and I was fine. And they did do like an MRI on me, and the hospital I went to was just an absolute hellhole. So I got out of there as soon as I could, but the MRI and stuff went to my family doctor the next day, and I called him up, and of course, you know, with the morphine, like there was no pain anymore, so I was able to go home. But you know, he basically said, "What are you eating? Don't do that."
Lots of inflammation.
Yeah, and it was like, was that scoliosis or something like that? I can't remember, or something with the
Colitis.
colitis. That's it. It's colitis. Yeah, so it was like inflammation of the intestines or something,
the colon.
right? Yeah.
Inflammation of the colon. This is what the medical establishment does. They take your symptoms, they turn it into Latin, and they tell you you have a disease.
Itis.
Yeah.
You're an itis now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is with this ease is that we should always remember that any kind of imbalance in our body needs to be corrected as soon as possible. So if you have a pain in your left foot or whatever, first of all, call me, so I'll tell you what it means. But second of all, fix it.
I'll attest to that. She's done that for me a million times already, unbelievably.
Like right now, I have this pain in my lower left back, right? Because for a day, I was playing with the puppy and sitting crooked at my desk because I wanted to play with him on my lap while I was working. And then I got this backache, right? So now I'm sitting straight. My knees are at 90-degree angle and my knees are tied together with a scarf. And I cannot physically, I am not allowing myself to sit crooked until this pain in my back goes away. And it's now 50% gone. So it's been a day, it's 50% gone. I'm happy with the results. You know, I know what exercises to do to make it go away. But but I think that it behooves us to learn these things about our body. This thing means this. I'm not going to ignore myself. I'm going to understand that there's a meaning to everything. And yeah, if you're eating shit, you're going to have issues. By the way, Eric went to the hospital for the same thing at one point.
I think it's an American disease.
Hey, Chris, you had a page that I'm gonna bring it up that kind of goes over what he was just saying. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
By the way, as you're bringing it up, Stephen, that painting behind you is so cool.
It is.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a tapestry. It's just a cloth, little
It
sheet.
looks
Almost like a scarf.
Doesn't it look like a neuron, Chris?
It doesn't. It looks like a lot of things, doesn't it?
Like ganglia.
It's just a tree, but
stuff.
very neat.
But well, when you're blocking the tree, it looks like ganglia. Well, ganglia that do look like trees a little bit.
A lot of things in the body look like trees. Did you find it?
Yeah.
I've got two other things to share, but they're not videos. So a lot of people run to the doctor, you know, they start eating better and they feel a little bit better, but then they end up having these symptoms of, you know, well, could be a whole lot of different things. They might feel like they have the flu, or there's a lot of things that feel just like a disease crisis, but they're really a healing crisis. So the top circle starts with symptoms. If you support your symptoms, like if you have diarrhea, it's because your body wants something out. You can do an enema, you know, you can take some herbs to stimulate that. You know, if you support the symptoms, you'll have increased vitality. Your blood and organs can detoxify. You may feel sick, but as long as you're supporting the symptoms, the blood and organs send the toxins to your bloodstream. That is toxemia, and that produces symptoms and etc. And if you keep doing the upper circle, you're going to get better. But if you suppress the symptoms with drugs or bad food choices, you're going to decrease your vitality. Your blood and organs will toxify more. You'll be in a disease crisis, which feels just like a healing crisis, but you're increasing toxemia and you're going to get more symptoms, etc. So this is the explanation of a healing crisis. If you are on the path to wellness and you get sick, it's because your body needs to detoxify. So don't give up.
And the perfect example of that is somebody who's been eating like a diet of hot dogs and popcorn.
Hot dogs and popcorn.
Oh, hang on. If that person were suddenly to switch to salads, they would get super diarrhea, right away. And they would be
they might, yeah.
The vegetables are making me ill. I better go back to my hot dogs. I've heard this before from patients. And it's like, no, the vegetables are helping you clean out whatever you need to clean out, allow them to do their job because that's what they're there for, right? But people misunderstand the symptoms.
Yes. Well, they haven't been taught anything about how to read their body. They really don't know what's going on. They think having a fever or diarrhea is their body attacking them or something, you know, when no, it's your body trying to keep you alive.
Yeah, I was also drinking Coca-Cola too. It was just the absolute worst. Like,
oh, please tell me it was diet too.
No, it wasn't diet, but it was.
Oh, well, that's good. The sugar's better than the diet stuff.
But it took me a while to figure all that stuff out because other than the doctor telling me don't do that, I adjusted my diet and it didn't happen again. But it took me quite a few years to figure out like all the things that have sugar in them and how much sugar, F's with.
Oh yeah.
Your ability to kind of regulate yourself.
It's a poison. It really is.
I must tell you guys, it's the worst because like in Mexico, when you go to the market, there is all these like there's like a stands everywhere. There are stands with all these waters like tropical pineapple and coconut, and they would be so good if they just didn't like they put all the right ingredients in these waters, and then on top of that, they dump a kilogram of sugar in the bucket, right? If they just skip that step, or maybe put a quarter of what they do, it would be awesome, or maybe an eighth, it would be awesome. But no, like it's almost like being a kid and not being able to buy what you want, because I go to the mercado and I'm so thirsty and I'm looking at these water and I know I would not feel good if I drank it, but I just like it looks so good. And they have beautiful foods, you know, but they're making fake food look good, and real food has like bad interpretation. And even if I make a healthy water here, people will be like, oh, that's not sweet enough, give me some sugar. I've had that, people like putting sugar
It's
in.
more addictive than cocaine.
It's like sweet tea in the South. Yeah, you order sweet tea and it's like they bring you this like super sugary drink that's like, whoa.
But that used to happen in the tropical countries for some reason, like in Turkey and stuff, they eat a lot of sweet things. I don't know why, but maybe there is a reason for it.
Well, it's easier to control you if they can get you off your game just with sugar.
I sometimes wonder because, okay, I found this out about nicotine recently, right? That nicotine is one of the most powerful herbs. It's really good. It's not addictive, and you can use it in a healthful way. And it's really powerful. Like I've been only using it for maybe a year.
You mean tobacco?
Yeah, I'm talking about the leaf, the actual leaf.
Yeah, you said nicotine.
Nicotina plant. Sorry, I was thinking Latin halfway. Tobacco plant, and it's really good. And you know, I find it's really like if I need to calm down, it calms me down. And if I need to like throw up because I have a stomach problem, it helps me do that, right? It's very decisive. And so I started reading up about it, and I found out that it's the grandmother plant. So it's a feminine energy, a powerful old woman energy, and that it has huge powers. But what they did is, it's one of the 4 plants given to humans apparently by the ancestors. So it's really important. But what they did is they took this grandmother plant and they threw her in this chemical bath and made it a poison. And then instead of telling people to use it very sparingly and a little bit at a time and really honor and respect it, they make it so that the society makes you want to do it all the time, all day long, right? And it's just like an abuse. It's the wrong way of using things. So sometimes I wonder if sugar, if we were to treat it with respect and use it appropriately, right? Like once in a while, I'm going to go and meditate or whatever. I'm going to use this sugar for this. I don't know what it does, but I wondered if it's like that because they put sugar in everything. And if they're doing that, then maybe they're fighting it's an upside down world, right?
Well, we have a craving, a true craving for carbohydrate, and sugar's the most concentrated carbohydrate.
Yeah, but there's a mystery in there somehow, you know?
Well, it's misused because they have broken it down so that you're just getting sugar instead of getting all the micronutrients in the beet, you know, or the sugar cane. You know, if you just chew on a sugar cane, you're fine because you're getting the nutrients with the sugar, which is
what happens with the crystalline sugar when it changes from fructose glucose into the actual sugar. The single molecules that are easy absorbable from glucose and fructose, they combine into one that's kind of hard on the body and it's hard to absorb and digest. And most things that are sweet, they have the molecules that are not absorbable and that mess with your insulin and stuff. But there is a way to use sugar that is appropriate, I think.
Well, it's possible. It depends on your willpower. You know, if I were to eat something that had actual sugar in it, then that would make it harder for me to not eat sugar again.
And it gives me stomach ache. Like I have all sorts of sweet things in the house, right? Like I have, but if I eat if I use sugar instead of piloncillo, which is the cane sugar that I put in my coffee every morning, it gives me a stomach ache. But the piloncillo is just as sweet and it doesn't.
Right.
And the honey is sweet and it doesn't make me feel icky in my stomach.
Right. Right.
So
It's a different structure.
we don't even have sugar in the house, honestly.
That's good. That's really good.
Like I'm all into my desserts, but I don't want them to make me feel icky.
Well, I got to tell you all about fudgesicle pudding. So Dr. Furman has a fudgesicle recipe, and all it is 3 ingredients, well, and water. 1 cup of raw cashews, 2 super ripe bananas, the riper the better, and 3 tablespoons of raw cacao powder with, so if you use a cup of cashews, you'd use half a cup of water, and you throw that in the Vitamix or whatever high speed blender you've got, and you blend it for 30 seconds or whatever to make it a smooth liquid. And you can, in the summer, you can pour it into popsicle molds, and they're to die for. And the rest of the year, when you don't want to be cold, you can just leave it the liquid, and it's like pudding. So it's really good, and it's totally good for you.
We don't have that part of the year down here.
Well, sometimes you just don't want to wait for fudgesicles.
Chris, what's your feeling about honey?
Well, I don't use it because I don't want to gain weight. So I prefer to, if I want to sweeten someone, I'll use bananas or maybe a date, throw a date in it, because it's not as concentrated. But I mean, you know, God gave us a lot of things to bless us, and we just have a really skewed perspective on eating. You know, like people usually give their babies bananas first. That's the worst thing to give your baby first. You want to get your baby accustomed to all the green things before you give them something they're going to crave.
And also bananas are highly allergenic in babies and can cause a rash around their mouth. And it's very common, and it really shouldn't be given to them early at all.
Yeah, my kids, I handed them a carrot stick. Well, I wanted to nurse them as long as possible and avoid getting pregnant again. So I would give them a whole carrot stick with the narrow point cut off. And they would just go to town gnawing on that thing, teething on it and whatever. And they thought they were eating and they were happy and kept them busy. And yeah, I finally, my first daughter ate a green onion. She got a hold of a green onion and just macerated that thing, no teeth, you know. But they all love to eat. Pretty much anything. I have one more picture, a PDF. Stephen, did I send you the other one? I think I did. Nope, that's the wrong one. You gotta get the second one that has the colors. The bottom one in our DM. I hope it's the right one. If not, I'll share my screen and bring up the Word document.
I do not have any. I do not have any other document, Chris.
Okay.
Anything else? I have the apple cider thing. If you wanted to.
Oh yeah, you go ahead and talk about that.
Okay. Well, Michael, you had mentioned something about honey. That's something I've been taking for a while now, just because there's a lot of natural benefits to it. And if any of you guys know about the benefits to this drink, well, I can talk and do this at the same time. Kind of hard. You can chime in. Come on.
Well, I discovered apple cider vinegar when I was learning how to take care of my kids without doctors. And I found it in a book called Vermont Folk Medicine, which talked about all the natural remedies that they use in Vermont. And I've used it a lot. It immediately makes you less acidic and settles your stomach, or, you know, just, it's good for everything. Because most people are too acidic. So even though it seems acidic, apple cider vinegar, it's a mild acid, and it tends to, when it goes through the gut, it tends to make your body more alkaline.
Yeah, I noticed that big time. I mean, I noticed it a lot when I was just eating unhealthy, but and it definitely changes your, I don't know how to say that. You use the restroom a lot differently after you take this. But I heard about it as a cleanse, boosting your immunity, giving you lots of energy because of the honey. And they mentioned on this that, you know, it's good to have natural local honey, which I guess that just has something to do with because it's you being in the same kind of atmosphere as where the honey kind of came is good for you. Yeah, like it says here, it's a immune stimulant, lowers the blood pressure, like we were talking about, as well as cholesterol. Lays fewer colds and infections. It's helpful in conditions such as gout, arthritis, and joint aches. It's also a good tonic for digestive tract and benefits the skin. And it's helpful in weight loss.
And it
In short,
decreases inflammation too.
yeah, yeah. There's so many benefits. I can. This is only just one little kind of article that I found it in just because I was looking for it, because I've been using it for about 6 years, and it just helps me feel better when I'm not taking it. I notice a huge difference. I take a whole tablespoon or more, all together in a day. So about half a tablespoon twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night.
Of the apple cider vinegar or of this drink?
Of the whole drink put together. Yeah, it's kind of looks like that when you're done with it.
Cool.
So Stephen, my grandfather just had passed last year, right, a little bit short of his 102nd birthday, in phenomenal health, amazing. And some of the things that we did every day was apple cider vinegar, water, just in the water, regular. And also, if you felt something coming on, our natural remedy first, before we'd go to the oregano oil, would be a little bit of crushed up garlic and some local honey or manuka honey. If you don't have, manuka with the full effect, like 16 plus, it's really actually good and very healing. Not for babies though. No honey for babies. And
I think that might be propaganda.
right.
Yeah. What is the deal with honey and
I think it's
babies?
a lot.
I think it's a lie. It's supposedly because of botulism. And
Okay.
it's just like when they got rid of aspirin because it was so cheap. They came up with Rye syndrome, that all these kids were dying from aspirin because Tylenol was now out there and it cost 10 times as much. So nobody
can't have you
Tylenol.
Yeah, I think that
salicylic acid
comes from the same school of doctors that tell you that drinking more than one kombucha a day will kill you and stuff like that. Where actually
we all should be dead.
But there's one lady who died in the 80s, so you got to take it seriously.
I know.
Drink kombucha every day, and there's one lady that died but you know what the weirdest thing about kombucha is? In every country, there's a different reason why you shouldn't drink it. Anyways, like you read the propaganda.
Yeah, let these people who are telling you that it's okay to take this mRNA vaccine, tell you what you should be putting in your body. Let's keep doing that. Yeah, JL, what were you were going somewhere with that?
Oh yeah. So basically, if you felt something coming on, the natural remedy, we don't believe in, unless God forbid, your bone is sticking through your body and you're bleeding or whatever. Yeah, then get yourself to somebody who's going to help you out. But pretty much anything short of that was dealt with at home, and that's why he lived to be as old as he was, and still, was the oldest CDL bus driver in New Jersey, still at 101 years old, and he was amazing. Still had a job, 2 jobs actually. So, but we would take that and crush a little fresh garlic clove with a little bit of honey and a little apple cider vinegar or lemon if you don't have apple cider vinegar in the house, but I really like the apple cider vinegar, and just on a tablespoon, and just take it right down, and it would knock out anything immediately. And the way that I would start his day every day before he would go to work is I would put out a big thing of water, and we would do Himalayan sea salt and honey as a sort of like an electrolyte replacement. Because when you get up in the morning, you're definitely dehydrated for sure. You can tell by your urine and the color of your urine. And the first thing really shouldn't be coffee or tea or anything that has a lot of caffeine in it, just further dehydrates you. It's a diuretic. So we would do this. And I have to say, from an energetic perspective and also from a beauty perspective, doing those simple things early in the morning really, really do help. But I drink apple cider vinegar just with water every day. I don't put any honey in it. I just drink it like that, and it's amazing. I enjoy it. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a whole thing of 32 ounces of natural unpasteurized honey to go, and it's a whole thing of apple cider vinegar, all ready to go, and some more garlic. My brother actually needed some. He just wanted to kind of do a little cleanse, and he was just kind of like, "Is it, what's it taste like, whatever?" And I was just like, I mean, there's just, I think it tastes fine. It's not a big deal, but I've been doing it for such a long time, and I definitely noticed as far as energy wise, it's like I could not be taking it for a day or two. Back when it wasn't so habitual, I noticed a huge difference. Now it's just something I get up, and that's like the first thing I do before I do really anything.
You don't want to stop taking it to remember.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think apple cider vinegar is probably one of the first things that many people did to start their journey into self-health care.
I think the Bragg family really, to be fair to them, it definitely had a huge impact on my life. Patricia and her father, and that wisdom should be brought forward. But just like Agnieszka and Chris were saying, once these marketed potions come on the market, they don't want you to do that. That's too simple, right? So they need you to go running for Tylenol, and they need, as opposed to willow bark or salicylic acid, or the things that actually are the active components that actually heal us, that we need, and they don't want us to know that.
Well,
So,
that's also
thank you.
because we live in the age of darkness, and then potions that they make are like they're death potions. Basically, they break you down on some level. They kill something, they break something down, right? Whereas honey or apple cider vinegar, they're golden liquids, right? They don't belong in this era. And so when we bring them in, we're bringing the light into our lives. And I know I'm being esoteric here, but it's true, because we have, like that poem yesterday said, we have come here, we have chosen to be here right now, right? We didn't choose to be here to support the era of darkness. We've chosen to come here to bring in the light.
Yes. Amen.
One little suggestion about the honey and the garlic. I had completely forgotten about this until you started talking about it. It's like, I have actually fermented my garlic in honey, and that's supposed to be really good for you. So if you wanted to try that, Stephen, is ferment some garlic and then use that in your drink. That might actually have more benefits to you. Just a suggestion.
How long does it take to ferment? Because honey kills
yeah,
bacteria.
it's probably 6-8 weeks. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've done it, but
Well, you might be able to ferment the garlic just in water first and then mix it all together, because it would, because honey actually kills bacteria. So it would be a lot slower process if you have the honey in there, I would think.
I know. Well, it took a long time, but for a while I was taking it every day, and I completely forgot about it.
It's all a big experiment.
Yes.
So stop letting them experiment on you and experiment on yourself. It's amazing. Very freeing.
It's funny too, like how many, like I just keep these articles just because from like what last 6-7 years I've been taking this, and there's nobody everybody's just like, oh, that smells bad, that tastes bad, you can smell it on your, I'll even get comments because I took it first thing in the morning, and someone like maybe came and got me for like my brother came and got me a haircut, and he's like, man, I can really smell that on your breath or whatever, because I'm just like, it's not ever going to be like that. I mean, it goes away. It's not like it's there the whole rest of the day. But in all these articles, you always hear people just like talk about it being like it's nothing. And people they'll be like, oh, some people say it's a natural cure-all. It's all this. It's basically all the stuff that everybody on here who has something to say about it would say about it, how awesome it is and how good it is for you. But they don't condone that anymore. When I first heard about it, and it was hard to find articles, and that's just a simple article that kind of talks a little bit about it. it was hard to find just what it was. I couldn't, like, people would put other things into it, and I was like, what is the 3 simple, things? And now I know what. I don't really have to go look it up, but I had it and I thought I'd mention it. But yeah, you hear a lot. It's almost like they're trying to make a negative out of it. Like, it's
Yeah.
don't go and look for or try this and use apple cider vinegar, honey, and garlic. Don't do that. It's not a cure all. Everybody, it's a myth. It's a myth.
Right.
I'm like,
because once you do it, you'll realize they've been
It
lying
works.
to you, and you do have control over much more than they let you think.
yeah.
And I'm not listening to anybody that tells you not to do your own research. Didn't we hear that during the Rona thing?
Yeah.
Don't do your own research.
I wanted to share 3 more quick things with you guys on this topic because I want to, before we finish, because I think it's important. So first one is when using garlic as an antibacterial for your colds, most people's mistake is that they don't use enough. And yes, it will give you a bit of a stomach ache if you use enough, but it will also get rid of your cold in like 24 hours and the stomach ache goes away. And just to remind you, antibiotics also give you a stomach ache. So,
And
it's
worse.
much less of a stomach ache. Yes, it does give you gas, right? So getting that out of the way, and it's not better because if you take an antibiotic, antibiotic is not better because it still gives you a stomach ache and it messes with your flora for 2 years. And garlic does not do that. The second thing is the thing that I do that's similar to what you do, Stephen, with the garlic is instead of apple cider vinegar, I use a whole lemon. Like I just cut off the skin from the outside and I use like the whole thing. And I use big chunks of ginger and garlic and a little cayenne pepper and honey and a little water. And I make like the concentrate from that. That's for colds. And then I drink it. I pour like a little in with hot water, not super hot, but hot water enough so that I feel it's hot. And I drink that every hour for 24 hours. And then my cold's gone.
That's how I first heard about it was drinking a whole bunch of it at one time. And I think it was probably had the ginger and the cayenne in it too. That's the one thing that kind of you don't see with like I said, I stopped seeing so much or not seeing that much about it. Like, yeah.
And the honey, if you really congested, you can just take a teaspoon of honey and hold it in your mouth and just try to breathe through your nose and hold this in your mouth and try not to swallow. And that actually decongests you quite a bit, just holding honey in your mouth for a little bit. And the last thing I wanted to mention is my new invention or my new discovery that has fixed my stomach challenges, because I've always, since I got this alpha-gal, the allergy to meat, my stomach's never been really super good. But the laurel leaf extract, I bought it first. It's a tincture in alcohol, so laurel leaf and alcohol. I bought it from a lady, and then I started making out my own because I liked it so much, and I just kept buying it from her. And it's all like, it doesn't take very much effort at all. Just a bunch of bay leaves, vodka, close it, and it takes a week or 3 days even. You can start taking it. And I just take like a teaspoon in the morning and teaspoon at night. Yes, totally.
Only with vodka.
I did it with rum the first time, but last time I went to the store and I'm like, what's the cheapest alcohol?
Yeah, that's all you need is alcohol.
Because all you need, to pull because alcohol, interesting thing, is a spirit. And the reason they call it alcohol a spirit is because it sucks the spirit out of anything that it encounters. So if you drink too much of it, your spirit will vacate you and you become drunk and you don't remember. And if you put it with plants, the spirit of the plant will vacate the plant and go into the alcohol. And then that's how you can get the nutrients from the plant or the healing properties into your body.
Awesome.
That's why absinthe is so crazy. There's so many spirits in it.
Well,
No.
alcohol, spirits.
And one more page to share.
And the word alcohol means al-ghul, from the ghoul.
Oh yeah.
So this, I was going to make a whole bunch of pages, but I don't know if you all heard about my complexity yesterday, but I ran out of time. And I had clients all day today. But we are basically 99% made of 6 elements: oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, calcium, and phosphorus. Basically dirt. Until you add the micronutrients from plants. So once you add the micronutrients from plants, the vessel created by the dirt, now can function and interact and make a full life. That was basically my last thought for the night. Anybody have anything to say about dirt? They say that we're chemically the same as a good pile of dirt.
I think that's awesome. Or dirt.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it feels so good to walk around in.
Yeah,
Bare skin.
it could be the frequency is the same.
Yeah.
Walking on the soil, and it comes through your body if you just have leather shoes on or barefoot. Can't go barefoot in Texas very much.
You can always come visit us in Acapulco. We can go barefoot a lot here. Maybe
I
not
know.
the day, but there's shade.
Yeah, that's true. It's so hot you can't walk on the sand. You need.
But the beach is covered in palapas, most of it. So you sit under a palapa and you only go in the sand if you want to. So you can still.
And you go diving.
Not in Acapulco, maybe a little
no.
bit.
I've only been to Cozumel, so I don't know Acapulco.
Acapulco has in the bay, you can go diving in the bay, but not where we normally go to the beach, which is Bonfield, which has big waves. It's open to the Pacific.
Oh, so you have to be a surfer.
I don't know. I just like the waves hitting my chest and moving with the ocean. I like it. I can't swim there, but I still like it.
Yeah, the sea is like the blood of the earth.
And the
very
fun
similar to our blood.
The fun thing about Acapulco and the waves here, so I grew up in the Baltic, and the ratio between my body and the waves was the same in the Baltic as it is now in Acapulco, because the waves in the Baltic are so much smaller. But I feel like a little kid going out there in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because so yeah, anyway.
Well, this was my interpretation of some of the things that went on last week. And because I relate, I'm very interested in health, so I relate almost everything to how to help people become healthier and freer. Because if you need the medical establishment to go get through your day, then you're not really free. But I believe everybody can become free of them. There are ways to mitigate health issues with food and herbs and different methods, therapies.
That's good information. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for letting me know about it this morning, or I wouldn't have been here.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm very happy that you all showed up. So I think that's it for Do It Live.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, everyone here. What a wonderful job everybody did, and very informative. So actually, one question popped up for me at this moment, and that is, what is the resource if something comes up where we need advice? Is there someplace on the forum that we would go, ask the community or a person or someplace we would go to get advice?
Like you mean for health specifically?
There is a health and wellness interest group that a lot of us frequent.
There's also Ask the Community. There's a Ask the Community slot.
And that would be the correct place if we get an pain or something that goes on.
I think that's a good idea, Dave. And because we're in autonomy, that means that you came up with a good idea and you should make it happen. Because having a health question section specifically for health is probably a good idea. And bringing people like Chris, myself, and a bunch of other people from Autonomy. Actually, that book I was talking about, I got it from Willow. But anyway, yeah, so go and make that happen.
I'm not sure what the idea is. I had a
Your idea that you just had
Well,
about
we already have that interest group. I don't know who started.
but we don't have a place where we specifically ask questions, a health related question. Health and wellness is for sharing, and that might get buried in there, you know.
Well,
Just
but
think-
if
It
you
doesn't
have
get a lot of traffic. It would be fine in there. Actually, Agnieszka, only just because it really doesn't get a lot of traffic. That's like one of the few
that
channels
might
that
get
I'll
it
actually check.
traffic.
Yeah, that would be good. That'd be great.
All right.
Actually.
I would just post it in there because I look at it periodically to see if anybody posted anything. So
then I'll start looking at it too.
yeah,
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Nice job.
I'm
So-
still awkward with the circle as opposed to the Discord thing.
oh yeah. I never got used to Discord, so I'm not used to it. And with that, where's our outro?
Ready, set, go.
Awesome.
Yay.
That
I'm
was
sorry I was late. I totally messed up with my calendar. I thought it was at 2.
It was a 2, but that's not what it said when I made my calendar invite.
Yeah, I was confused, but
Well, it was at 2 Eastern, 2 Central,
Mountain.
not what?
Well, originally I think it was 2 Mountain Time. So that's probably where the confusion was, because I looked at the schedule earlier and it said 2 p.m. Mexico time.
yeah, I did
No, but
too.
that would make it later my time.
Yeah, that would be,
That would have made 3 o'clock correct for me.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it would have been the right time. It was just to set off, like it was just put everywhere else wrong. We had it right, but it was just like putting a lot of other places wrong.
Okay.
The 1:15
And the only reason I was even here for it is because I was just practicing putting everything together, and Joshua showed up, and I was like, "So we got a whole hour, right?" And he was like, "No, it's about to start." And I was like, "Chris isn't gonna be here." I'm like,
Well,
"What are
and
we
you
supposed to do?"
too when that happened, because I had no clue and I wasn't doing anything important. I just didn't know. I showed up at like 2 minutes to 2 and I thought I was on time, right?
That's funny.
Oh man, somehow we gotta get a handle on the time issue. And
But I wonder if that means that Mexico is under, like, maybe because sometime during the spring there's this thing that the American clock moves and the Mexican doesn't yet, and I think we're in that time right now.
No,
That happened-
Agnieszka,
that
they
happened
are not. Mexico did not move their clock this year. That's the big problem, is because a lot of the software and stuff in the programs still think it's like last year when Mexico used to
Oh,
change their clocks.
yeah, and
I
Australia
outside of
does it at a
society,
different
I didn't even
time. It's really difficult, really a problem. I wish the world would, that's one thing I'd love a world government to do, get rid of daylight savings time.
but they developed it specifically to create misery and suffering for us. Why would they get rid of it?
Agreed.
Well, I know, I'm kidding. Well, that was fun. How'd we do?
Yeah, what'd y'all think?
It was great. And Chris and Jerry come on in, and Michael, and stepped up in the beginning to kind of fill in the air with Stephen. And we got some good interview techniques down, and we're just doing it live. And then you rolled in and it all, like, cranked up a little further, and we shifted into third gear, and now we're pulling the train into the station. So all in all, it was an excellent show. Thanks, guys.
Great. I
You
can't wait
know
to see
everything.
see the first
Hey,
part.
yeah, that lady I shared yesterday, she's a little eloquent like you. Like maybe
Well, we started with that, Agnieszka.
Yeah.
That was one of the things she started with.
Mm-hmm.
well, the way she was just speaking, she sounded like a poetry magician. Well, you usually do, JL.
You are very sweet. Thank you, Agnieszka.
I am not at all sweet. Ask Michael.
That is a really cool poem. I read it again today just because I thought that was something that we were supposed to put up, and I was just like, oh no, I just got confused by our agenda. But I read it. That is really cool. I have that saved in my tabs.
I
Just
don't
the whole
even know how it came up on my thing. Like suddenly, I think my Facebook algorithm changed the other day because I'm getting completely different data right now, and I'm getting some interesting stuff. Yes, and I allow Facebook to follow me so that they give me the stuff I'm interested in, and I think it's doing an okay job actually.
Yeah, that lady is amazing, and I absolutely love that you brought that to our attention because it is some powerful stuff.
I was listening to another interview with her this morning, and she said that she had a mean dad that talked down to her. She was afraid to open her mouth. She didn't speak until she was like well in her 40s. Like she was a shy person who didn't talk a lot. And she says she takes like, I think CBD in order to like be so eloquent in interviews. She's like 5 milligrams does it. It was cute. It was an interview with a Black lady. It was very interesting. I thought it's interesting that she flourished so much after 40, or she didn't say 40, but that's what I imagine it would be.
Agnieszka, you brought up the King Warrior Magician Lover book. There's another lady that also has like a whole bunch of archetypes, and I'll see if I can find it. But she's got like the feminine version of that. I'll have to check. Yeah, I'll have to send it your, because there's a whole bunch of really cool kind of interpretations.
I was putting those books there for you guys. Where did I put
So
them?
they still haven't posted the last Do It Live. Whose job is that?
They have the other one up. It's on. I didn't know there was a Do It Live little tab, but it's on there in the forum. You go and click. I didn't even know it until today, and I just saw it up. Yeah.
Right now.
And they might have just put it up. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, they knew I was going to say something about it.
Michael, you made a really good post saying that if you invest your time into autonomy, you will have a return on investment of 10 times. And just in this short 2 hours, I was able to glean a delicious fudgesicle recipe, some amazing books to add to my overflowing bookshelf, and all kinds of natural remedies and ideas. So yes, very true, at least 10 times. So thanks, y'all.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that iridology book. For me, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look into that.
You know,
that's something new for me.
At Acapulco, there was an iridology presenter right after me, so I got to see her presentation. And I've met other iridologists before, but she was really cool, and she had a following like I did. People followed her around everywhere she went.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, if anybody knows an iridologist that has the camera set up, I need to get a new picture of my irises because I have one from 20 years ago and I'd love to compare them. But I don't know anybody that has the camera.
I didn't really hit it off with the lady. I think she was judgy about my pot smoking.
Well, some people don't know they're judgy.
Is that something that you can do? You can take like a picture of your iris and send it somewhere, and they'll give you like an evaluation.
Yeah, just like the pictures I showed you in the book.
But he's in Canada.
It was a guy from Canada that came to the States and did it 20 years ago. It might be the same guy.
No, this guy's name is Jürgen, I believe, and he's German.
Oh, yeah, no.
and he used to be in SS, but he was a kid and he found that people were like judgmental toward him because he was in SS as a small child. He's a very interesting person to meet. Because he was like 15 or something like that, but then like it's in his record, so he had to leave Germany because it was following him everywhere he got. But he like, when the war ended, he was still a teenager, so there was no decision making on his part.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting story. And yeah, he was a healer, astrologer, and iridologist. I might still have his number somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping at some point to be able to afford the camera to do it myself, but I have the magnifying glass, so like, you know, I can look at your iris and, you know, point at some things, but I don't have much experience.
How much is the camera cost?
Oh, it's, last time I looked, it was over $3,000 for, you know, because it's one that, you know,
Yes,
gets good resolution of an eyeball, you know, so the lens is
Yeah, and it probably like stabilizes your head somehow, so you're like,
yeah,
right.
it's got something you put your, you know, like when you go to the eye doctor.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking for somebody who has access to centrifuges and blood plasma machines to do blood work without actually having to send them into Quest or something. In my travels, I've been hearing many people who do not want to submit their blood work and still want the information. It's a good idea of what's going on, a snapshot, so to speak. And it is important. However, especially people who are not of a certain ICD code, we'll leave it at that, and they don't want their system in there. So I was thinking, Lisa Manfredi, I think, does some leasing of medical equipment, and I was thinking of contacting her and asking her, do you know anybody that we could, you know, buy used equipment from?
Well, I have a centrifuge, but I couldn't test the blood for anything.
It's scientific equipment that she deals with, more like, I want to say like microscopes, but it might be relevant to what you're looking for too.
Interesting, thank you.
But if you know somebody that has an account, like I have an account with Quest and with LabCorp, I only have to put a name in, a birthday, and that's it.
No social?
No social. I don't have to put a social in.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, good to know.
You know, you just have to have a LabCorp near you.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't realize that, Chris. I thought there was much more invasive.
Well, you know,
data.
people that are in the system, they get all that information because they want to do it correctly. But the bare minimum is just a name, and it doesn't have to be a real name.
Right.
A birth date, and that wouldn't even have to be a real birth date, except in order to log in and get your results, you got to remember what you chose. And what else? Whether you're male or female, which is funny, I think, because there's all this stuff about not being male or female.
You can say not applicable.
Nope, you only get two choices.
Other.
Well, good to know. Thanks, Chris.
So one thing is, JL, there's independent labs all over Mexico that you can just go in with money, and you don't need the doctors, whatever, to test your blood. And if you give them a little extra money, they'll probably just keep it private. And you know, and I'm not talking a lot of extra money. Like it only takes like $20 to bribe a cop here. So, you know, a little extra money. And the other thing is, I just texted my friend who's a biologist and a doctor of biology, and I asked her if she thinks she could start a business like that, because I think that would be an interesting business to have somebody who's completely freedom-minded and independent who could test the blood, right?
Absolutely. And I keep hearing that need come up over and over again.
I just texted her that there is a need that has come up. And I think she could probably do it. Well, I know,
excellent.
Yeah, she's I don't know her, like I don't know how much she studied blood. I know she's had some,
that just made me think of something else I studied in my naturopathy degree, is dried blood analysis. It looks at totally different things, and because of the chemistry in your blood will dry in different shapes, and you know, it's a whole nother thing you can study, and then you only need a drop, you know.
So if you come here, you can do that with our blood.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll trade you for a tarot reading.
Where are you?
Acapulco.
Oh,
Right now.
the
Sometimes-
problem is I've got these clients that have 5 weeks to have a baby and they all overlap. So I hardly ever go anywhere.
There's gonna be a time where you're gonna have to leave and go somewhere, and Acapulco is a good option. And also half the year I'm in the mountains, so
Oh,
that's a different kind of Mexico.
yeah, it sounds really nice. And you
Awesome.
know, I'm open. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I know I'm not gonna be the one buying land. There's gonna be some group that adopts me that
There
isn't
is a lady from
led by a
England.
megalomaniac.
Okay, check this out. There's a lady your age about from England who's coming here in June, and we're renting a house together. And her quest is to buy land, but she doesn't want to sell the little plots for $1 million each like the other people do. What she wants is to just like live together and maybe rent the rooms, or her dream is to maybe build herself a yurt to live in and then live on the property and rent rooms in the house, or have people help her with the house. See, that sounds like you'd like her, but maybe we can
Oh,
get together.
probably, because I had an idea of buying 3 or 4 yurts and putting them on a property and renting them out so that I could bypass the whole birth center thing. It's like, they're just
So
renting a
you're-
room.
when all the babies
Have their
babies
baby.
are gone, plan yourself a little break, don't take that baby that's going to take up your 2-week break, and then come down to in June I'm planning to stay. I don't know if this is going to work out yet, but I'm planning to stay at these cabañas in the woods in the mountains near Pátzcuaro, which is that little town that's famous for Dia de los Muertos. But in the summer it's just like woodsy, mountainy streams and nice weather and fruit salads. So
Makes me think.
How far is that from Morelia, Agnieszka?
45 minutes.
Okay.
Everybody from Morelia, or a lot of people from Morelia, moved there this year.
So that's Derek Brose's, that property that Derek Brose was talking about?
No,
Okay.
I don't know. No, but Lexi lives in Pátzcuaro now, and so does Gina, and so do a couple other people, I think, that just moved there. And there's already people in Pátzcuaro, so there's like a good 5 or 6 people in Pátzcuaro, and it's a tiny town. So I think spending a couple, because I'm not moving there forever. I just want to spend a couple months there and see what other adventures await. I'm going to come back here after the bad weather ends.
Yeah.
Is that where they have a big lake? And there was a guy, Dirk from Net Paradise, or I forget who he is. I think that was the town he was in, right?
It's probably Lake Chapala is where you're
Yeah.
probably talking about.
It's nearby-ish, like within an hour's drive, all of it.
I heard about that place, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I wonder, like Chris, or like you were saying, where would you go if you needed to have a freedom cell place to go if you really had to blast out of here?
If I had to bug out,
Yeah.
well, I wouldn't head south. I'd probably head north. I mean, unless I wanted to leave the United States, but I don't know. Well, now I know people that are in Mexico, but I don't know how to get there on foot, Because I'm expecting, I'm ready. It's why I'm doing CrossFit, because I don't want to be the weak link they leave on the side of the road because they don't want to feed me anymore.
But the
I want
thing
to be able to, pardon?
Don't fall into that fear mongering, because the
Oh,
other day I
I'm
was sitting-
excited for it.
no, it's good. But like I think it'll be fun anyway, but whatever happens. But the other day I was sitting on my friend's porch in like a rich neighborhood next to a pool with like a beautiful view and stuff. And I said to them, I'm like, I always knew that if bad people took over the world, I would be some of the people that are hiding in the cave opposing them. I would not be the people who accepted red pill, I'll be the people underground. But I didn't know that the underground could look like this, you know, like it
You
was
just need the right weather.
it was fresh. The servants have just opened some fresh coconuts for us. I'm not joking. And this is the true story. And it was Mike Dupree, by the way. So the servants have just opened some fresh coconuts, and we were sitting there talking about freedom and realizing that we are in the cave, away from the matrix. But it's not how they see. Even that Hollywood lies to you. They tell you it's going to be horrible, but in reality, it's fresh coconuts.
Right. It's like
Well,
when you fall out of the matrix, you're not in this like sewer. You're actually
yeah,
in
you're not, yeah.
in a
You're in
jungle
heaven.
that's got food on every tree.
there is like, yeah,
You create your experience every moment. So, you know.
that's true too. And then I got a puppy. I mean, I got a puppy. It's so cool. I cannot complain. I'm the operations manager now, and they pay me for painting flowers. I
Nice.
don't know, like this manifestation thing is really strange, and it's going way overboard because I never thought I could manifest that. Like in my wildest dreams, even 5 years ago, I wouldn't tell you guys that somebody was going to pay me to paint. It seems so ridiculous. And paint like silly little paintings, not paint a masterpiece, but just paint, and they don't even want the paintings. You know?
Can I share real quick? I'm gonna share my screen and show you my artwork I've gotten from Woodrow so far for my book. Hang on, first share.
Oh, they're doing artwork for you? That's cool.
Yeah, I want illustrations for each chapter. So I've been sending
Oh,
him
nice.
Wow.
the top here.
And you tell them what the illustration should be?
Yeah, this is like our whole conversation here.
Ah, cool.
So this is the artwork he gave me, and then I marked it up,
And
and said, 3 more seashells, more jagged, make this rocky also. So we're communicating via DM, and then
Nice.
then this was the finished artwork, I think. And then I colorized it. I posted that somewhere. And then I sent him this knife to use as a, an idea.
cool knife.
Yeah. And then he made, this is for chapter 1. That's one of my heroines running into the woods.
And then you colorize it yourself. So you like put your own magic to it.
I have edited, I've like pulled it into Illustrator and removed a line here and there for some things, but like here, I think
because his design is a little busy.
Yeah, well, and we go back and forth over, like I wanted it to look like she was running, so I said she needs to have, her hair needs to be like bouncing, so we added that, and then I added some stuff too. This is chapter 3. That little girl gives her hero one of her buttons that fell off her dress, and tells him it's a jewel because he saved her from the fire-breathing dragon. Anyways.
That's cool. Oh, look at that knife, and he painted it for you.
Yeah, so
that is a good representation.
There's a human sacrifice in the story, so.
No, but that's a good representation of like he's good.
Yeah, he's good. And then this is somebody paying somebody to go kill somebody.
See, I just paint silly flowers. I don't pay humans.
Oh, I thought this was funny. I told him that he had a piece of cooked rabbit on the knife, and he put I said, no. Not the effect I'm looking for.
It looks like the Playboy bunny too.
Yeah. Here's the finished shaded. He's
beautiful. I love it. Oh, and you know what? If you paint that with burnt amber, that purse, it'll look like leather with all the black lines that he put on there, just like that reddish, like glow.
Yeah. This is what I gave him to use as a template somewhere. Well, I don't see it now. Right here.
Nice.
You know, so I
So that,
write out what I want, and then I find pictures. So I don't want to spend any more than I have to. So.
that's awesome. I'm supposed to write a book too this year. Hey guys, I want to ask you something. I'm supposed to do the sovereign body language course online somehow, and I want to do a trial to see if we can find all the ways I shouldn't do it. Would you guys be interested in participating in it?
Sure. Sounds
Online.
Yeah, through Zoom, because I have to
yeah,
learn.
we're not flying to Acapulco to take the course.
No, see, the problem
Come
is
on.
I could so do it if you fly here, and it would be so much better, and we could do 10-day intensive. It would be amazing, right? You would love it. But that's not a realistic thing, and so many people all over the world want it. Like even the people that were under Acapulco, some of them, and I offered my workshop 4 times, and some of them didn't make it, and they were like, well, can you do it online? And I don't know, maybe I can, maybe I can't. I got to figure out how to do it online, because I don't have your body to touch and correct and, you know, to look at, well, let me see your feet and stuff like that. So am I supposed to see your feet when all I can see is face?
Well, maybe you get some people that are right there, you know, and the rest of us observe what
Get a
you're
model.
doing. Yeah.
Well, are you coming down?
And that will, and I can't, but that will entice people to want to come see you, you know, when they see
But
what
you can't for 5 weeks. I heard that. Yeah, maybe I'll do something like that in
Well, you can always come to Texas. I have 3 extra rooms.
That's nice. There's so many
She's got a car, so she'll be there.
There are so many rooms in Texas. If I went to Texas, I would have to stay there for months in order to visit everybody I'm supposed to visit. Like, I don't know.
Work it out. I got rid of my roommate because he stole my dog. So.
Oh man.
Was it like an ex-boyfriend?
No. Oh my gosh. I'm never doing it again. No, it was a guy from my church that after knowing him for a month, I heard he was living out of his car. I said, well, that's silly. I've got these extra rooms. So I rented him a room, and he was with me for almost 2 years, and found me this dog. I wasn't committed to having a dog yet, but I was thinking, you know, you're getting older. It might be good to have some protection, you know. So I said, okay, we'll see how it works. Well, I'm just starting to warm up to this dog. I hired a trainer to help to train me to train the dog, because so the different dogs have different temperaments, and most of the time they'll submit to a guy like that, you know, because males are dominant. So, but she was a female, I'm a female, and she saw me as the new kid. And it was really hard to get her to listen to me, and it involved using the chain around the neck so that you could give it a jerk when you said no, you know, or sit or whatever, and she didn't obey. Well, he decided I was abusing the dog, and I came home from the grocery store, and he had taken the dog and all the stuff he cared about and left everything else, and he was gone. I haven't been that mad in 25 years.
Oh man.
But maybe it would be better for you to get a puppy and train him from a puppy, because it doesn't take very
long. I mean, 8 months old, that's still a puppy.
No, I'm talking about like a real puppy that you learn, because when a puppy like this puppy that I just got, he was 6 weeks old, right? And I'm teaching him right at this age, when he's still biting me and being aggressive, that I touch his belly and I touch his feet, and, you know, and so then when he gets older, it's not going to be an issue to do stuff, you know, like.
Well, that may be what I do. What it did show me is I'm not ready for a dog because I have to get up and leave for maybe 24 or 48 hours, you know, at the drop of a hat. And I went around and, you know, looked at all the daycare places for dogs, you know, and like nobody lets you drop off after 7 p.m. What am I going to do at 3 a.m. with a puppy, you know?
Yeah.
So, especially now that I don't have a roommate.
Bring him with you everywhere you go.
To a birth? I know. But it's an idea for later.
Yeah. Agnieszka, your course, we should really do it. And that's kind of one of the things that's the emphasis here is to get everybody doing a course. So you,
Do it live.
Well, so it would be what, you and Bob Podolsky?
no, well, it could be me and Jerry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want us to
Jerry's
be
far
there,
away.
to actually be there,
It would be cool if Jerry was here, but he's far away.
oh,
He's in
maybe
Canada.
maybe we can convince Jerry to come our way.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
in any case,
Yeah, there's a
if
couple
you want to
other.
do it online, I think that's certainly something that I think it's a great idea, honestly, because I mean you've got so much value to deliver, and then set yourself up for next year, when all the people come down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, getting a book and getting the course ready. So that way by December, I'm better positioned.
I've been doing some research for the media relations department, and I watched this guy that he talks about strategic narrative. He's a strategic narrative consultant, and he says, "Get my book." So he's like, "I've got a free book, right?" I check it out. It's basically like PowerPoint slides put together into like a 70-page book, but it's super simple, super straightforward. Books aren't what they used to be, I'll tell you that much. So you can create a book pretty easy these days.
Yeah, and you know what I was thinking about the book? I was thinking about interviewing some people who have met me before and have benefited from the psychosomatic therapy information that they got from me, and basically writing down their stories. Like, so you met me, da 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 da, and you heard that you should straighten your feet. How has that impacted your life? Like, what have you done differently, and how has that made a difference in your life? And maybe collating like 8 or 9 stories like that.
Definitely.
You think that's a good idea?
Hell yeah. Yeah, those are fabulous testimonials. And the stuff that you got as far as the psychosomatic, it is like magic. I can certainly testify to about 14 different occasions that I came to you with some particular pain somewhere, and you said, like, I remember my thumb. I did my thumb, and then that was like my back, my side of my back, and I think it was like my elbow was another one.
Yeah, your thumb was making medical decisions for your brother, and you weren't involved, and you were pissed about it. And your thumb represents your will, and so you injured your thumb because you couldn't assert your will, or you couldn't enforce your will with the family because you're cut off from the family and you're in a different country, and they're basically not listening to you. And so that's why you injured your thumb. There was no way around.
I think a book that had lots of different, success stories for taking charge, whatever
solutions for
modality.
healing. Yeah.
Because some people just, they can't even think of another way.
Oh, you were talking about
Doctor.
like the laurel leaf for digestion and stuff. The laurel leaf is super powerful. I think it does way more than just digestion. I think it does some.
I love
Bay
it.
leaf is super powerful. Yeah. It's one
There
of
are
those master
times when
herbs.
I crave bay leaf, and then I
Well,
put
and
it
it's
next thing I cook.
to me, Agnieszka, you should be like you said with the lady from England, you should just be inviting people and just collaborating with 2 or 3 healers from different things.
Yeah, have a little talk.
You can you can have like a weekend or a week or a 2-week thing where people just come and they hang out, and you basically like fix them, because a lot of people need a little bit of time to just unplug from the system. And if they had somebody like you and a couple other healers to go in different directions, I think it'd be an awesome experience, and I'd probably pay $5,000 a piece to do that.
Interesting. Yeah, the prices thing for me is the most difficult thing, because I want to do everything for free, right? Like I said, want to trade me for a tarot reading? Because I want to do, like, I don't like the involvement with the fake money, but I understand that I need it for food and stuff.
I work for silver. I'll
Nice.
take silver in payment.
Well,
I'll take whatever. I'll take anything. I'll take eggs. I'll
it's
actually
value. That's value for value, right?
so I've just put together my skills inventory. And so I've totally changed my skills inventory. And I don't know if it's just the right thing to do, but now it's like a resume, but it's like a different way to do a resume. It talks about it basically focuses on my skills and how I can help people. And it goes skill by skill by skill. And it talks about what's important to the people who need that skill, right? I can send it to you guys. And then I started putting pictures in it and going totally crazy. And I don't know if I just had like an ADD dream or if this thing is a completely innovative way of presenting yourself in the marketplace. Now I use it for trade. Like I just approached this Spanish teacher in Morelia where I'm going to go in June. And I said, hey, how do you feel about trade for Spanish lessons in June? She's like, I don't know. What can you give me? Right. And I'm like, let me give you my skills inventory. And then I
Oh,
started
nice.
That is a great idea.
things.
Love it.
I
Love it.
can do so many different things after all the years I've been winging it.
That's
I can
kind of my
hang
thought too with
wallpaper.
my landing page is just kind of, here's my offer, right? And kind of like when, random probably bullshit recruiters are messaging me on LinkedIn. Okay, here's my landing page. Go, if this is what you're looking for, do it. If not, fuck off, whatever.
I like the concept of showing what you can do for somebody else, because in a regular CV, you're just literally listing out your skills and there's no how this can help you. Although, I've had a couple of headhunters and recruiters give me advice and talk about, take that and then bullet point it out of what you took that skill and did it for them. Salespeople, it's easy because they're like, oh, I increased sales by X%. But when you're doing other types of skills where there's not really a quantifiable measurement, so to speak, but the way that you're saying to do all these different skills and showing how that can relate to these people and how they can utilize your skill, that's brilliant, Agnieszka. I'd love to see that.
I'm sending it. I just have to find the third book I mentioned, which was Your Body. I don't know why I'm sending links to this Goodreads site because I don't normally use it, but I just thought I don't want to send Amazon links.
Yeah, no, that's a good place to send it because you can buy it from anywhere.
Yeah, and you can look for it, your own links.
On ABE books or thrift books.
There we go. Okay, so those are the 3 books. And did I save hang on, I have it. No, I think I saved it because it's closed. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off here. I really
Thank you
appreciate
very
y'all
much.
showing up, and yeah, it was a lot. I had a really good time. This is really cool. A lot more than what I thought I was going to do. I was super nervous about it, that's for sure, but I learned a lot, and it was just awesome. So
Well,
thank you all for coming.
Thank you for helping me and covering
Absolutely.
for me when I wasn't here.
Anytime, yeah. If anybody needs someone to co-host, I'll do it again.
There you go.
Let me know.
You did great. You did great.
Thank you.
Steven.
Thank you.
He's got a new skill set.
Yeah, I loved it because I didn't realize what all went on behind it, and I didn't realize that's kind of what I've been thinking I would get out of certain things in autonomy, because I was like, there's certain things I know that I've been wanting to check out that I know I've seen other people do, and I didn't really know exactly what they did, and I did. I thought it was cool. It's almost like a puzzle, going around the computer figuring out what to do here and there and there. Got a little frustrating, but I mean, a little bit of a challenge is always worth it, once you get past it and figure out what you're doing. So learn new things. It was awesome. So thank you guys. I will see you probably tomorrow.
And by the way,
thanks.
I sent the thing already, so it's in the Do It Live chat underneath the whatever that says ended 29 minutes ago.
Oh, the event.
The event.
Chris, I wanted to ask you a question about water birth. Have you ever done any water
Oh yeah,
births?
almost all of mine are water births.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like a little like a little pool then?
It's a birth pool is about, well, at least 36 inches tall. And there's different sizes around, but mine, I use the mini because most people don't have a big enough hot water heater to fill the regular size one. So I have a smaller one. But the depth of the water is what's important, because the buoyancy of your belly is what takes the pain away.
Oh, interesting.
So you can't just use a bathtub, although everything feels better if you're soaking in the bathtub, but it doesn't do much for labor pains unless it's buoyant. So you have to have quite a bit of water in order to lift that belly up, which is what it wants to do. It wants to come up and go forward, which is why laying flat on your back with your feet in the air is the absolutely worst position you could
Wow.
be in.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, water birth is awesome. Plus, all the mess is in the pool. So you get mom and baby out of the water and put them in the bed, and all you got to do is pump the dirty water out. So,
What's your thoughts about the placenta? There's some people that suggest you should eat some of the placenta. Is that
I don't think you have to, but there have been many times when that stopped a hemorrhage. You just need to stick a dime-sized piece in your cheek, and it will stop a hemorrhage. You don't even
Whoa.
have to eat it. But I have a lot of people that encapsulate it, so and I have done it. It takes a lot of time, so I don't do it much. But I did for my daughter. You take the placenta, you cook it, and then you dry it in the oven like a dehydrator. So if you have a good oven, you can just keep it a little propped open on the lowest temperature and dry it out. And then first you cut it into strips, because then you're going to take those dried up strips and throw them in your Vitamix and turn it into powder and then put it in capsules. And it helps with hormones and iron and lots of things, but you don't have to do it. I never ate mine. I always kept mine in the freezer in case I needed it. But
what about the like the stem cells from the birth cord? Is that another thing that you've familiar with?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't had anybody do it because you need to cut and clamp and cut right away in order to, keep the blood that's in the cord. So
Okay.
nobody wants to do that. They'd rather have the baby get all his stem cells.
Okay.
Instead of saving them for some potential disease in the future, when it's
Okay.
all about, it's 99% about what you eat. So, you don't need stem cells. You make stem cells every day. So, but if you stop poisoning yourself, you'll have plenty of your own stem cells.
So as far as cutting the cord, you're not an advocate of that?
Well, we cut it eventually, but it's not a big deal. We don't even think about it unless we think the baby's getting cold, and we want to wrap the baby up. So then we'll cut the cord so we can wrap the baby up. But it's absolutely not an issue. Whereas in the hospital, what I think is funny, this is typical of scientific medical thought. So they finally did a study on delayed cord clamping. They had all these hospitals and doctors involved, and they delayed cord clamping for 60 seconds, 1 minute. And all the outcomes improved. Every baby improved. So do you think they'll do it for 2 minutes? No, only 1 minute.
Yikes.
They're like insanely stupid. Obviously, if giving the baby 1 minute's worth more of their blood back, because if you cut and clamp and cut right away, a third of the baby's blood is in the placenta. That baby is anemic from day one because you cut the cord right away. So, but they're insane.
Well,
They're not insane again. They're necromancers and they do it on purpose.
Not all of them.
No, but the whole
The system is set up, but
it's built on that. And I'm sure that there's people who fall for it just like we all do and think that they're going to help people. But a lot of doctors become disillusioned because like every medicine that they require to give kills a part of a human.
well, not to mention they've got them over a barrel because they owe $100,000 in student loans, after getting this degree. So now they have to just run people through the mill in order to pay their debt. And it all just adds up. They're like caught like in a spider web. It's really sad. But I had this doctor, I haven't seen her now because I refused to pay for Medicaid, or Medicare. So so I'm not going to go. I'm not giving them any of my money. But when I had a PCP, when I was working, I thought, well, I'm going to find a vegan gynecologist, because that person will at least not think I'm crazy, for eating the way I eat. And so I went in there and I told her, well, I'm vegan most of the time, but I love sushi. So, holidays and birthdays and things, we'll all go out for sushi. And she's like, oh, you got to really watch the mercury. And I said, okay, you get more mercury in one immunization than I am ever going to get from eating sushi once in a while. And she went, huh. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to sing. It's like, oh, I got through to somebody. It was so much fun.
Nice.
Love those aha moments. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hey, JL, did you see my services inventory?
No, I didn't click over yet. I will definitely go check it out.
Yeah, no worries.
In the writing room?
No, it's in the Do It Live
Oh, okay.
thing for today. I don't know.
The
Yeah,
events.
I don't want too many people to see it.
So who's going to process the Do It Live, and how long is it going to take to get out there?
I'm gonna ask Joshua if he wants me to upload it. It'll take like an hour.
Are you going to crop it so that it starts?
Yeah, do you want me to?
Well, I want to see the whole thing that I missed. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's somebody else's judgment call whether whatever you guys did first needs to be included or not. I'm fine with it.
so what happened last season was there were talks like these and they were great, so we just left them. Is
Okay.
this something you want to leave or crop
Yeah,
it?
sure.
Okay.
This is my first time. I don't know.
You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did awesome. And so when are you coming to Acapulco?
When am I coming to Acapulco?
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I
Yeah. Sounds fun.
think you'd like Morelia though, really. I can just see you traipsing up those mountains.
Well, the summertime is uncomfortable for a lot of people in Acapulco. It's wet. June 1st, I can almost guarantee it'll start raining, and it'll rain.
I'm leaving June 1st.
What's that?
I'm leaving June 1st.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll rain until like October.
I'm
But
coming
not.
back in November. I'm probably coming back after the Mariposa Freedom Festival.
Mhm.
So to get this course done, like I would have to, like if you want to use me as an example, would you like want to do this soon?
Well, actually, you could have people come to you wherever you are over a period of weeks and then put it in, just put it all together in the online.
Yeah, I don't know. What I need is some support on creating this course. So if anybody wants to volunteer for that, because I have the concept and people are asking for it, but I get lost as soon as I start thinking about it in my brain. Like I'm so clear and direct when I work for the watercolor painting university, and like I can do whatever, all the marketing. But for this thing, I turn like Down syndrome. I don't know. I just want to smoke a joint and go home.
Did you see what Carly did with her course? It was just like a 4-week course, like an hour session each week. I mean, that's essentially what I modeled the understanding controlled opposition course that me and Jerry are working on right now.
But maybe we don't have to be in the same thing. Maybe you guys can just send me pictures of like the feet together and the feet splayed out, or the feet in this position, and then we can put some slides together.
Okay.
And then people at home, we can look at their feet if they're comfortable or not if they're not. But you know, we can show them, and then we can do a little video, like set up a camera outside, for example, Jerry, and do some postures or something, like wherever you're at. Hey, didn't you go to some like competition, Jerry? Like some martial arts thing?
Yeah, I literally just have been learning so much since I've joined Autonomy, and I was getting into jujitsu, which is something I'll probably get back into. Yeah.
So did you do well at the competition?
Oh, I'm just a beginner. Yeah, there's actually a competition coming up soon. I should probably look into that.
I was just curious because I saw that you mentioned something somewhere about it.
Because I was thinking, like, I'm learning like a bunch of different things, but if I were to go to Acapulco, like, I'm just thinking surfing.
Yeah.
I would probably like, want to learn to surf.
And as long as you come before May 30th, it's all good.
All right.
On the
Definitely.
1st, I'm driving into the mountains. I mean, come with us and drive to Morelia.
Yeah, I'll
Road trip.
DM you. Yeah.
Road trip. But we have 2 dogs now. Tiny
Yeah,
dog.
your puppy's so cute.
The best puppy. Yeah, I have till the end of May to train him to pee on command. Then we're going on a 7-hour road trip.
Yeah.
But it's fine. He's good. He's already doing well.
I gotta check out your thing. Also, Agnieszka, Bob and I have been working on his strategic plan, and there's I'll send you that. It's kind of similar to what you said, you know, where you're adding up your you know, your various offers and like things that you can value, things that you can be an expert on for other people. But then it's also you know, kind of figuring out exactly like who your competition is, what's your you know, your kind of avatar customer for each individual piece. It's a great exercise. It's taken some time for us to figure it all out, but I think it's definitely stimulated some ideas that we didn't have before.
Yeah, it was really an interesting experience, even just creating the services and inventory, and then thinking about, you know, the social proof for each skill. Like, how do I know you're a good herbalist? Like, how you know, and then putting some testimonials together, and I even put a photo of me on the stage in the public speaking section. It was a lot of fun to make. I don't know if it's like a marketing material specifically that I would use, but maybe for a community like this one or for trade, it's a really good marketing piece. And then just for the very end, I stuck a photo of me in the front page so you guys would know who it is about.
Well, and there's also some, I mean, like with the media relations, we're kind of developing a, you know, kind of a standard policy as far as, you know, how we're going to help people with media relations. And, you know, that's, you know, you could be kind of one of our template customers where we just, you know, kind of hook you up with the right podcast audience. And then, you know, if you've got your offers in order, then kind of
my website. Well, my website's in the process of being made right now. And so on my website to-do list, I have the course, and supposedly I'm writing a book. Oh yeah, the storybook. That could be fun.
and you know, like the book could be like a crowdsourcing opportunity.
I'll tell you guys something weird. It takes me a week to write a book for a client. 1 week to gather data and write it up. it's not that big a deal. Like, you know, a 30-page or 50-page book or a 100-page book doesn't take a lot, right? Something for a lead magnet. Why can't I write one for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
need you need a lot of people to read it, you know, and give you feedback, because it's really hard to write your own stuff.
No, that's another thing where it's a, it's a collaborative thing, and we kind of help each other. I certainly have learned a lot, like with Cody and Chris. They're both authors that are aspiring to get their books out in front of other people, but they're collaborating with each other, and it's propelling them forward. And Chris is obviously taking flight here. She's got her book in gear.
It's getting there.
Yeah, Chris got me on Critique Circle, and right now I'm looking at other people's hooks for their books and starting to see the kind of problems that show up, and then looking at the critiques I've gotten for my hook, and yeah, I see the problem.
It's all refining the knife.
Well, Agnieszka, if you would like help with that, I would certainly be happy to help out if you want to pull together a group of people to even focus group it and get some ideas and start to share with us what you're thinking, and then maybe it might be easier to write it.
Okay. So that means we would have to decide what day we meet or something.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like something you could do right now.
Yes, as we're talking about it. Yeah. What day is good for you next week?
Let me see.
I love it.
And this is how we get it done.
Do it live.
Yep, we do it live and get it done.
Freaking autonomy bullshit. And I just pulled that one on the other guy earlier. His name I can't remember.
Steven?
No, the gentleman, I didn't catch his name. He had a hat on and a beard.
Oh, Dave.
Dave. That's probably, I couldn't remember his name because there's 3 Daves in season 9.
Wow.
Yep.
And I just my brain went, it couldn't be Dave. Because the other guys are named.
Who is it? It's Dave, man. Open up. No, Dave's not here, man.
The other Dave? The other Dave?
That's a Cheech and Chong scene from is it Up in Smoke or no?
Yep.
I don't know what movie that's from, but I definitely know that reference.
It's God dang it. But there's also who's the actor that's in that one? Oh, God bless it. But yeah, that's a hilarious.
Yes, that was a funny movie. Okay, so Tuesday?
Oh boy, Tuesday.
Is it busy? I don't know. Actually, pick a day.
Tuesday is okay. Not in the morning. So anytime after 1 p.m. Eastern time, I'm available.
So that's noon, right? Right.
Yeah, that's noon your time.
Or is it?
It's actually 11 a.m. Mexico time, Acapulco time.
Oh, okay. Now I'm really confused. I'm trying to make a meeting with Jerry, and he said anytime after 11 CST. So I just thought that was new.
Because now I'm like, it's called timeanddate.com. That's the tool I use. And you're in Eastern, right?
Yes.
I just default everything to Eastern because it's the standard time zone to do these things on. It's
Yeah,
one of
I
the most
used
populated ones.
Acapulco did some fucked up shit.
It's Mexico, and unfortunately, it's like half the programs don't realize it yet. So like everything is screwed up.
So it says here that Tuesday. at noon. It's 2 p.m.
Oh, shoot. I don't know that I can do Tuesday. So
Okay. What time did you say, JL?
Anytime after 1 Eastern.
1 p.m. New York, and that's 11 a.m. like Michael said, which is like messes with my head right now. But okay. So yeah. Oh, he said Tuesday is bad. So whatever other day.
I'm sorry. I got 2 meetings on that, and one of them is somehow disappeared. So I'm trying to figure out if it's still on or
Well, I'm gonna head out, y'all.
Have a good
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for all your help.
Thank you for being awesome.
This was excellent. Thanks, Chris. I hope to see you on Thursday.
That's the plan.
Cool.
Bye.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to Do It Live, everyone. My name is Jerry, and I am a Season 7 graduate of Autonomy. I am accompanied by Stephen, who is my co-host, and with a bunch of other graduates and new students of Season 9, and with Richard Grove. Today, there has been some sort of hiccup where we got the times mixed up, and the original host, Chris Duffy, thought that we were starting an hour from now. So I'm sort of on the spot, just doing a live. And yeah, I'm just essentially killing time until she gets here, but we're going to discuss my journey of autonomy, everyone who's listening, their journey, what they've learned since they've joined Season 9. We're gonna get into it and learn a lot of stuff today in the meantime. So Stephen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. The co-host today, and yeah, we got things mixed up a little bit. My name's Stephen Lawrence, and yeah, we got everything mixed up a little bit with times, and that's kind of why things are a little bit off. But me and Jerry will be taking care of you while we wait for the original host to be here and get back to it.
So
Jerry?
I know you and Chris prepared for this Do It Live, and obviously this was, unprecedented or unforeseen. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect an hour from now?
Yeah. She's got some really cool stuff set up for us. Some really neat. I can't remember her name's Laura. Something about it's love is precious, and I guess it was shared by Agnieszka. I think I don't know if I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but she shared that a while ago, I guess, and it's something that she wanted people to like check out, because we're talking about, or Chris is going to be talking about inward health, and that's obviously an important thing. Is just love, as this video kind of talks about. And then just we'll be going on from there, from certain clips to books. Just little things that we can kind of go over and kind of help you prepare yourself and just do better by yourself, knowing about your body and everything that is involved in it. And yeah, she took some time and put some stuff together, and it's pretty neat. I'm pretty excited. So.
That sounds very exciting, Stephen. I can't wait to just, watch all that, learn, because in autonomy, that's what I do, is I learn from everyone here, And it's just a super marathon, like Richard says. It isn't a sprint. So there's a lot going on in the forum, and I can't keep up with everything as I wish I could, but I certainly will get something out of today. And if you're watching this, I know you will too. So please stick in there, and this will be the best of alive yet. So, you know, last week we had Stephanie host, I heard, and yeah, I'm sure she did amazing. I haven't watched that, but this season I've been, you know, not really participating as much. And that's because I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I just moved out from my parents' house, and I'm, you know, trying to live on my own, like for the first time ever. I've lived under a friend, with a friend before, in the military, with my parents, and now I'm just like, I'm on my own now. And I just had this thought earlier today. I said, what happens if, you know, I can't live where I'm at right now? And like something were to happen, like I need backup solutions. And that's what autonomy, that's why I need autonomy. And that's why we all need autonomy. Like, what if plan A goes wrong? I better have a plan B. So although I haven't watched the first lecture of the season or tonight's or last night's lecture, like Richard says, like I go at my own pace. I'm not behind. Nobody's behind. Even if you're going like a snail, like, hey, keep showing. If you keep showing up, you will get results. And I certainly have. And I'm honestly super grateful just to be here speaking in front of y'all. I feel much better than I was before we even started. So, Stephen, when I know this is like your first time co-hosting, and I appreciate you for stepping up and just for your bravery. I remember when I first did my first Do It Live, I felt like I was a kid. I felt scared, but the clips helped me through, honestly, just to give myself a break and just to hear the audience engaged. We have Michael Nimitz in here. He's always showing up to these events, and I would like to hear from him in a little bit. But Stephen, what are your thoughts currently?
I remember watching something when you first co-hosted. I think I watched maybe a little clip of you with, and I don't remember even who you were doing it for, but they mentioned you, and they had you say something, and you were just like, I just remember thinking back then, whatever you had said, I was just like, man, he's making it seem like it's like a big thing, just to, you know, whatever. And I'm like, I totally understand now where you're coming from at that point, because of everything I've kind of done just to prepare for just being on here and pushing a few buttons here and there, you know. Like, I'm like, man, this seemed like a full day's work almost, you know. And I'm excited that I got to experience all of it. It's really awesome, actually, because I've learned a bunch. And I've been going over it back and forth and learning, but it's just like, yeah, it's I'm just glad to be here, glad to be a part of it and do it live. So yeah.
So that's been like your autonomy experience as of this week, just preparing for the podcast. Like, do you have any suggestions for any students who, you know, will sign or may sign up for a Do It Live podcast?
I would say just ask around. I noticed just kind of talking to people and kind of I wouldn't say call it really, I guess it is in my experience, would be making trouble a little bit. You kind of just, because I had to, I came to you, I went to Nick, because I Nick Hayes, I seen him on a version of Do It Live. And from there, you guys pointed me to different people, and I ended up with Joshua, and he had to put some stuff out there that was like, here's what you're gonna do if you want to do it live, and everything just kind of came together. So just if you're looking to get into something like do it live, or I guess really anything to be a part of autonomy, we'll go with do it live, since that's what we're doing. Just jump into it, because that's how that is the only way to learn, and that's only how I learned. I was definitely not sure, and I was like, well, how I just needed to feel prepared myself. So I started asking questions, started trying to figure out, I'm gonna have to be doing something behind the scenes. I know I'm not even close to prepared to host, but just doing stuff. There's got to be something I got to do, to figure this out, And so I just jump in, see what you can do to experience, and you'll figure it out from there.
So we have Michael with his camera on. Michael, would you like to say something, introduce yourself?
Sure. I just as the time as the 3 o'clock, or the whatever time it is it 3 p.m. in on Eastern time? But whatever, like the top of the hour struck, and all of a sudden our power went out, and I was thinking, oh God, just and I think I had told Stephen that I was, hey, rely on me, I will be there, But luckily the power came back on, and I was able to figure out how to get here. So I'm certainly glad to be here. Listening to what you said, Jerry. Honestly, I feel like Jerry is definitely, one of the examples of like how far you can go in autonomy. I mean, he's come an incredible long way from where he was, when we first saw him in what was it, season 6, season 7?
7.
Okay. Yeah, so season 7, just a few seasons ago, he was in Japan, working for the government, and he's no longer doing that now, and he's like a completely different person, and he strives to help in any way he can, and here's just another example. We've kind of got a challenge, and who shows up? Jerry. That speaks, volumes to the character that Jerry brings to the table. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of what is necessary when it comes to the circumstances that we face. I think there's a lot of mystery out there about what the hell is going on in the world, and to a large degree, everything is upside down, or it appears to be upside down. Justice is certainly not being served. The people that are supposedly representing health and human services are certainly not doing that, and on and on down the line. It's extremely daunting to really confront the truth when it comes to a lot of the things that are happening in the world. But it's through this group of people that we have that aren't afraid to ask questions and listen to other people's perspective, that that take us to where we need to be, and really kind of develop a community of people that are able to do what it takes to be anti-fragile. It's an interesting place to be. I certainly have. I'm like all chips in on this one, because I've certainly struggled throughout my life to find the truth, to find the respectable thing to do, and as far as I'm concerned, this is where it's at. And so I'm super grateful to be in this room of people, because you guys are all super special.
That's wonderful. JL is hitting us with these party emojis, heart emojis. We appreciate you, Jo. If you don't mind, saying some words, JL, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely, Jerry. Thank you. And thank you, Michael, and welcome, Stephen. I will be in your position 2 weeks from now as co-host with Daryl for Doing It Live. So I appreciate the words of advice and asking around and getting prepared. I will echo what Michael says, that this is truly a special group of people worldwide, which is some of the other benefits of being within this community. Not only do we get our American perspective, but we get to hear the perspective of our global brothers and sisters. And that in and of itself is a gift. So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to today's Doing It Live. And Jerry, thank you for stepping up, man. I love it. Jerry, I will absolutely mimic that as well and say, yes, Jerry is always there with a smile and a hand and a can-do attitude. And that's one of the great aspects that we love about the People for Autonomy. So Jerry, thanks for doing it. And Stephen, welcome.
No, right on, Jo. Thank you for your words, kind words, matter of fact. I look forward to seeing you co-host in 2 weeks. It's a learning experience, how to press the buttons, dealing with triggering complexity, talking in front of an audience. Today's a good crowd to start with. What we got, like 12 people. Maybe in an hour from now, maybe everyone thought it starts an hour from now, and then we 25 people arrive for 30. So this is a good warm-up. So yeah, I'd like to ask you, Stephen, what did you think of last night's lecture?
Oh man, there was so much content. There was so much to it. I don't even know what I kept looking at your potential is immense. And that's how I finished off my notes that I wrote down. Get this big, I don't know if you can see it. Big, I guess it's backwards. It says I put it in big, huge letters, your potential is immense, because I was like, it just kept coming back to that. And I was just like, that definitely was what it was, and all the stuff that he references to John Taylor Gatto is awesome, because I hear him talk about that was something you learned getting into autonomy, that you're just like, this is so instrumental, just even getting like a foreshadow what you're getting into. It's important to know, and it's important to know our background, because it kind of, once you know that, you realize how much potential you didn't realize you had. And the more you hear it, just the more it just opens up. So I love that, just all that's always continuously talked about, and anything I can get from John Taylor Gatto, like, it's always good to hear from him. And the education system, just how you always, I remember thinking last night, you always kind of wonder and think a lot of the things, if you do, kind of think to do any kind of critical thinking, you kind of wonder, why do I feel like this isn't really, why do I feel like I did all this? I feel successful. I feel like, because everybody told me I am. I graduated, but now I don't know what I want to do. And I did the same thing when I got out of high school. I felt like I did a really good job in school while also doing other things. I was working. I was moving along with my music kind of side of things. And then after that, it was it. It was nothing. Didn't do anything. And then I ended up in the military, where they just kind of do the same thing. And you understand that going through this a lot, especially a lot what Richard was talking about last night. And I just loved it, because it's super reassuring. And I mean, anybody who would, might need some reassuring getting into this course after going, through kind of like first kind of learning or getting into it and trying to, establish kind of like just a confident, just being comfortable, you know, it's it kind of comes right there to you, because you just start learning this stuff. You're like, oh wow, this is definitely where I needed to be, because it's showing me exactly why and what I've been missing out on for so long. So it's always awesome. I'm like always just excited to be here, be a part of this program. I can't say that enough ever. So
How did you come across autonomy?
I saw it on Mark Passio's website, What on Earth is Happening. I seen it a couple times, but I never really clicked on it. And then there was a time after I had been listening to him for about a week and a half. He's been going through his couple of his lectures, and then a whole bunch of his podcasts. I just saw it after clicking on one link or another. I just went and clicked on it, and I was like, what's autonomy? What's this? You know, and then before it went to like where he invites you to check out the obstacle course, he had, I think there was a video that Richard had that shared something about what I was about to get into. And I was like, sounds interesting. Let's check it out. And then from there, it was just, I was basically hooked. I couldn't stop. I was like, I got to check this out.
I think that's why I keep coming back, because of people like you that join this course, like Michael, like JL, everyone here, because I think we all want to grow. And Richard is the instructor, but I think in his Discord description, he says he's the learner, he's a student still. So, I mean, we're constantly learning, constantly growing. Like, I might have done this Do It Live, what, 4 times, maybe 5, I don't even remember. But the case is, I've been here, I've done this, and I still come back to do this. I volunteer because I know there's a lot of room for growth, right? And you mentioned a few things I wanted to ask. Like, like you say you were playing music, or you play music, what instruments do you play?
I played guitar, started off playing guitar. I tried learning trumpet, you know, when I was really small, but that didn't work out very well.
Oh, nice.
But what I really got into was guitar, and
Yeah.
there was some kind of particular thing Richard was mentioning last night about doing like self-teaching your things, and how self-teaching yourself things, and how that's important. And I was like, and looking at that aspect of like, it's so important, because it's something you feel is valuable, and it's why you'll keep moving forward. And I was like, yeah, I mean, when he mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's how I went when it came to guitar. I literally just grabbed onto the thought, like, I want to do that, because I seen someone else doing, and I thought that was awesome. Just how they were using it as like a ministry purpose, you know, that's kind of what it was for, just reaching out to others. And I was just like, that's so cool, that's so awesome. I want to have that influence. I want to be able to reach out to others that way. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I would come home after school every single day from the age of 14 and up, and just until I knew how to play well, and I was actually playing with other people. I would just lock myself, me and my guitar, in a room, and just learn, mess up, keep learning until my fingers were tired, and then just go back to, you know, regular life, and then come back and do it again the next day, you know. From there, I because I started playing with other people, I learned piano, and it seemed pretty similar, just kind of just the way they kind of work, and what you know about playing chords and things like that. Guy's a phenomenal. He doesn't even, he's a bodybuilder now, but the guy who taught me, but he went to like national levels a few different times. Amazing pianist, just amazing. But he just showed me a few like easy stuff, and I just kind of learned from there, picked that up on myself. I love the piano. But yeah, that's what I did. That's how I kind of learned a little bit about music, and just playing with others. So it's something I've always been passionate about. And I'm still not sure if it's something I'm going to continue doing a lot of, or get more into, or if if I'm maybe it's just it leads me to something just kind of, I'm not really sure. Kind of that's what this course is kind of about. Because I learned just doing this. It's been pretty neat. Been finding different things I like about it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. What if I could do something with this or that, But yeah, that's my whole music kind of history right there.
No, it's beautiful. I know Richard, said there's a course out there, Jordan Page's Strings of Liberty, I want to say it's called. So that
Yeah,
seems like something I want to check out,
yeah, me too. I haven't seen it. I went to check it out, and I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I just haven't. I looked it up on Google. I couldn't find anything off there. So I don't. It always shows Jordan Page, but it never showed me a Strings of Liberty page. I don't know if I just missed it or what. But yeah, I love that when I seen him first time at the VIP summit. I don't know if you went to that or seen that, but I had his song stuck in my head for like the next 2 weeks. They would just come out of nowhere and just be stuck in my head. I was just like, yeah, this is cool.
I never really, thought I would listen to his music, because I think I played a song on Spotify and I was like, this isn't really what I listen to. But then after hearing him, like at the, what do you call it, the war against this rally, that
Rage Against the Machine, the War
yeah,
Machine.
yeah, that one. I was like, I felt it. And then hearing him at the VIP, I was like, bro, when he was playing that song, like the one that Richard requested, and he's like, oh, I have to play it now, the way you put it like that. Dude, like, I have to meet this guy,
Which one was it? Was that The Wall?
Yeah.
His own version of The Wall? Oh my gosh, that was so
Yeah,
awesome. I mean, anybody who's a musician fan, especially if they like that song or that type of music. Oh my god, oh my gosh. And he did it on an acoustic too. I was just like, man, this guy's killing it. Oh yeah, that was I was sold right there when I seen that. I was just like
I've got some Jordan. I got some Jordan Page stories, because I got to meet him in Washington D.C. when he did the Ron Paul Revolution March way back in 2008, and I got to spend a little time with him, and of course got to witness his performance, like up close and personal, and then 2010, Adam Kokesh ran for Congress in New Mexico. And I went out to New Mexico to support Adam Kokesh, and ended up kind of rooming with Jordan Page for a few days in one of Adam Kokesh's rooms. So I got to know him, a lot better then. And, again, I got to see him, perform and essentially like make magic happen. I mean, he definitely is an artist that, like to see his performance in person is something else. And then 2013, I ran into him in Chile. And
Chile?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. There was the Gulch project that was was kind of a freedom thing. It's kind of like the beginning of Anarchapulco, before Anarchapulco. And that was like a week-long event. And again, if you see my my Zoom pic, if I turn that thing off, you'll see the guy that's standing next to me. That's Jordan Page. That's from Chile, 2013. And then some years later, I got to invite him to Anarchapulco and for him to perform. I think it was 2018. So I got him a deal to come down and perform at Anarchapulco. And so, I've had a long history with Jordan, and there's other things that have come along the way. But, Yeah, he is something special, and I tend to believe, it's like his example of the person that he is, and I'm telling you, he is a hell of a man. I mean, he's a tremendous father. I mean, he is a total family man. I mean, what's he got? 7 kids now? 8 kids? I can't even count how many kids he's got, but he's got a lot of them, and he is he is you know the foundation of the family, and just a leader of his community, and it's amazing to see in person. And I think the potential that he shows with the talent that he has and the way that he carries himself, it's an example for the rest of us, because it is something that we all have the potential to be, you know the awesome person that we are. Agnieszka brought up that lady last night at the end of the Q&A about the magic of words. And in that video that she pointed out, there's a part there where she talks about the word beautiful, and it's like, be true to you. Like, the word beautiful is actually, if you break it down, it's like, be truly yourself. That's what beauty really is. In her explanation, she does a much better job of it than I just did. But the bottom line is it is really our courage to be ourselves, and it's really through other people kind of allowing us to be ourselves, that we become ourselves, and then we become that beautiful addition to the world. That's and I think that's kind of one of the things that autonomy is about, is essentially allowing people to be themselves, and to kind of do it the opposite way of the way they're doing it out in society, where they're kicking you when you're down. Autonomy is helping you when you're down, and brushing you off when you're got your head buried in the sand, even if it's by your own circumstances or your own kind of ignorance. It's I can certainly speak to that myself, because I feel like it is it is a very forgiving environment. And
Yeah.
I can't say enough about it. So that's certainly one of the things that I certainly strive to bring to the table, is to really, if I've got the time to support somebody, I'm going to do it, and that's certainly what I benefit from by doing that, because I tell you, there's just so many people in autonomy that's influenced me and taught me things that I find invaluable. I just it's just like what Richard says, you can spend your time or you can invest your time, and autonomy is always an investment. That's the beautiful thing.
How many interviews have you done this season with new students?
Are you talking to me or Steven?
I'm talking to you, Mike.
I'm probably around 10, 10 new students.
God. I've done 2, and I've learned so much. I can only imagine how much you've learned. So would you like to touch on that?
Oh man, I'm thrilled by the group of people we've got. And I being that I'm lucky enough to have been here since season 2, I've been involved in kind of the preparations and stuff each season, and so I've kind of seen how things have changed, and where we've gone. And I mean, we've the group of people that produce autonomy, they've just done amazing things. I've been involved in construction projects and military operations and all kinds of different things. And, rarely have I seen the kind of seamless effort that has taken place when it comes to a lot of the things that has happened over the seasons in autonomy. We've switched different, I guess, at the beginning we were in Teachable and not Kajabi. And so that transition took place, the move from like Discord to, the forum. Those things happen. And, for a lot of organizations, those are things that, can be super detrimental. Like people just don't jump on board, and then the whole thing kind of blows up and falls apart. And in each of those cases, people have always kind of jumped in to wherever it was necessary to get things done and done it. I mean, Jerry's certainly one of those people. And, I can't, I mean, there's certainly, Richard and Joshua and Kara and Agnieszka and, so many, Patrick and, all the others that have, Stephanie, they've always stepped up and, jumped in and did whatever. And it's been amazing. And it continues to be amazing. And for me, it is the inspiration that I just continue to rely on to keep myself moving forward. Because I truly feel like I myself, I'm going through my own kind of Dunning-Kruger graph, where you got that like mountain of stupid, where you're super confident. And I had that period of time in my life when I was just like this cocky, confident SOB, whether to some degree in the military, when I was a super soldier kind of guy, and then when I was a construction guy, and coming off that mountain, it isn't easy, because that's usually where the big pay is. But it has been something where you fall down that mountain into the valley of despair, and getting across the valley of despair into that other side is something I'm still having a hard time with. But I know it's got a lot to do with with autonomy. It's going to carry me to that other side. And then my hope is that I can build a bridge, from the plateau of wisdom to the freaking mountain of stupidity, where instead of people having to go down into the valley of despair to like fight for themselves and fight for their, you can just walk across the freaking bridge to something better. But I may have gone on too long. I will say one of the things that Richard said last night in the presentation, that 15,000 hours of indoctrination that we all have gone through, or for most part, most of us have gone through, the substantialness of that, I don't think most people recognize. And, what autonomy is doing is trying to undo that, and, for the most part, that's not something that's easily, undone. That quote about habit being the flywheel, once you get a flywheel moving in one direction, it's pretty freaking difficult to stop it and then get it moving in the opposite direction. But that's the challenge that we all have to, pull off. And it's not easy, but that's what's got to be done. And it's a hell of a lot easier to do it together.
Cause see,
Richard Chris is here.
Chris is here, guys. Chris, there was some.
Yeah, I know. I figured that out.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Should I reclaim host or stay co-host? It's making me choose one or the other.
I'll let you decide. That was Steven. So
I'll take it.
This was the warm-up, guys.
So did you already do the music?
Yeah, we did the intro. We did the intro, but it's your show.
I know, but give me just the quick, what did you guys talk about already?
We're just talking like we're in a lounge, so we can
Okay.
start the intro again, you know, do it live.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess we could. It's gonna go longer though, but yeah, you want to start over, play the intro again? I mean, we'll probably do the whole thing anyways, but
All right, here we go.